Start recording here.
That light on real quick.
Yeah. I honestly don't know how to get the light on.
That's so real. Let's see.
I flipped that, but then everything in here turned off, and I was like, that's not it. So, wait. Oh, okay. It's because you were in front of the thing. I was like, that randomly just turned off. Wait.
Is it up here?
I think so. What is that?
I think this is a tension thing. Because this is not a button. It's not really a switch. You're moving on the back of it. I'm trying really hard to not mess up the thousands of dollars of equipment. Oh, right here. There we go.
Oh, yeah. That's perfect. Actually.
Easy.
So. I was like, I never realized what the thing was.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, okay, I'm not just like, accidentally break everything Kyle is like works for.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want to touch much. The moment that I saw that, I was like,
It's like, so that's gonna be $10,000. Like, oop. He said, say goodbye to your savings goals for this year.
They are finito. Speaking of saving goals, I paid off that credit card today, and that balance was $1,000 more than I thought it was gonna be. So I was like,
listen,
ooh.
Bro, dude, I should have like booked a freaking Airbnb literally one day later because I was like, okay, I'm gonna get it after my statement ends, so I can put that on there. No.
Yeah, I always do a thing where it's like, okay, my statement ends on this day, so
Exactly.
I don't have to pay off the entire balance until like blah blah blah. So I'm like, okay, so I'm fine with this being my balance, but this being my next balance is like, okay,
That's
okay.
the thing,
So
bro.
yeah,
So like,
but yeah, so
the course of March is all gonna be like me.
March is still gonna be so bad.
Rebalancing. It's gonna be tough, bro. I'm not kidding you, man.
Yeah,
I was not expecting me to still be here after Christmas. So I thought I was okay. Christmas is done. We're gonna be on the coast, right? Got my first paycheck in the second half of January.
Yeah.
And then Valentine's Day started hitting.
Yeah. I literally was like, oh, okay. I mean, there'll be some things or whatever. But then, Haji was just like, oh, we're still going to San Fran, right? I'm like, oh, yeah, we are. So I was like, and I was like, oh, yeah, Airbnb trip. And then it's like, and now she's like, I mean, do you want to visit me in Houston in August? I'm like, yes, babe. But like, I was like, yes,
it's
but
expensive.
I know. I'm like, yes, but I think we're going to rely on the points for that one. So,
I had to throw all my travel
yeah.
to the credit card this month because I was like,
yeah. The moment I was like, all right, SoFi savings, come save me now, please. I was,
the price of being a responsible adult, bro. If I didn't care about my credit, do you know how many stupid things I've been doing right now?
I know. I think it was like, all right, like, especially because like I'm starting to realize I was like, man, spending money kind of is my relaxation thing. So I was like,
retail therapy though.
Retail therapy. When I bought that podcast camera, I felt so good. Turned it on and was like, yep, it doesn't look like crap anymore, and turned it off.
Listen, bro, the way that it went to that paycheck, and I was all right. We're finishing the Vita collection of the games I need right now, dude. There's this dude up in not Westlake, but like close to that Crocker Park area, like about basically an hour from here. Who, like I bought like Vita games from him last year, and like I ran out, and he it was weird, right? Because it's like when you search Vita games, you're not gonna find his listing, but if you look for a specific game, you'll find his listing. So like I found his listing again because like the old one had closed. So I was like, yes, please. He still has Soul Sacrifice. Let's go,
dude. Someone gave me their card or whatever after I bought the Saturn.
Oh,
like,
actually,
yeah. He was like, yeah, bro. I like because he was like, you like retro games, and like it sucked because like I was trying to finish up the transaction because I was technically at work. So I was like, because I was like, yeah, boy.
Use my lunch break of an hour and a half.
Dude, it was so bad because, okay, get this. The moment I step out and get to my car, my mom called me and was like, where are you going? And I was like, I'm going to get something from work. I was like I dressed up like I was going to work, but like underneath I had like my pajamas and stuff. So I was like, love that. I'm going to get something from work. And she was like, okay, cool. And so I was like, I got to finish something really quickly. Because dude was like in Beechwood. So I was like, all right.
Oh, yeah. That's a good 25 from the house, right?
It was like 21.
Yeah, okay.
It was like 21. So because he was like right off the exit. Like, the exit.
Oh, okay. I got you. So you're not like navigating.
Yeah, so I went to the Speedway. Like, no, I wasn't like navigating through. I wasn't going past the Chase and the Whole Foods.
Yeah, exactly.
Blah, blah.
You know, I want to go past the Trader Joe's real quick.
Yeah. Beechwood's, they get crazy.
Shout out Beechwood for real.
Shout out Beechwood.
It's like if I was rich enough and I didn't want to live in Hudson, I'd probably live in Beechwood.
Yeah, Beach was solid. But there's like a vibe about Hudson. It's like, you know, that type of rich where it's like we're actually looking down on other people.
Oh, for sure.
That's like I hate to say it, but that's just a different type of rich. That's like an elite type of rich. Though. I'm just saying. Like,
I've been counting the unique black people I've seen in Hudson since I started going there in 2017. We are at 47 right now.
Mm-hmm.
Over the course of 7 years, I've only seen 47 unique black people. That's kind of insane.
Yeah, that's kind of wild. But yeah, that's like that. That's that vet every single person who moves into the neighborhood type rich. That's that. That's that. Like, oh, so what do you do? What do you do?
No, but what do you do?
Oh wait. You're a secretary? Yeah, we gonna gossip about you.
Bro,
we gonna gossip about you.
I remember I went to grab my turtleneck for Valentine's Day at Joseph A. Bank or whatever. And the guy working behind the counter was a black guy. I was like, bro, I did not know any black people working in this town, dog.
I was insane. That is so insane.
With the dreads too, I was like, dang, okay. Yeah. Maybe
I'd be envious of Hudson though, Hudson, because they're so walkable. Like I just don't like. It's like I'm like really quaint bookshop, really quaint coffee shop. I'm like,
bro, I need that. I'm trying to live my
It's not like that in Macedonia.
Life.
I have to go to Macedonia. Speaking of, I got my tires changed, and I was like, oh, dude. Like, yeah. So that was another $520.
Dude, I literally just got my oil changed today, and they're like, you're gonna need your rear differential and like your tires changed soon. I was like, we'll get that next paycheck, baby.
Because I was like, all right, like I was like, all right, I'm going on this trip. I looked at my tires and I saw like the wire inside them showing, and I was like, okay, yeah, that's the cube. Dude, gotta get them done now. So, and the guy was like, yeah, you gotta like align them to not have that happen quickly. And I was like, okay.
Exactly. So when I started realizing, I was like, is it really the wind, or is it just like, am I like fighting the wind all the time? Or is it me fighting my tires more often than not? And that's I feel like that's how you know that you're starting to stare down the barrel of a $500 to $600 to $700 purchase. You know?
Yeah, that's the thing though, because I was driving. Sometimes I'll be driving and like if I can feel every crevice in the road, like it's like making my steering wheel go. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that means that there's no tread on here.
Yo, dude, I'm telling you, like, why is freaking rubber so expensive, dog? Are you serious?
And we're in the rubber city too. That's so insane.
No,
like we can't get a discount.
Not a discount for being, bro.
That's like the one good thing about Akron.
Literally.
That's the one good thing about Akron.
That's why we're in the Rust Belt now, bro. That's why we're in the Rust Belt, man. We used to be known for innovation and technology.
We used to be called something cool like the manufacturing belt.
Literally, bro. Now we just
people used to get crippling injuries at work.
Exactly.
And be like, those were the good old days.
Listen, you used to see your buddy lose his forearm up to here and be like, you know what? He ain't getting no workers' comp, but he showed up for lunch the next day, bro, with a good story.
Facts.
Man.
Hey, he got a party at the end of his career, though.
That's
you know what I'm saying,
bro?
Retirement party. Good stuff.
Are we going to hit that?
I do what you do.
Bro, they be pushing retirement back. I think it's like, 75 now, something like that?
Everyone at my workplace has been like, we're not getting our Social Security. One of my PM, Josh, shout out Josh. He we were just talking about something, and like we were just talking about how like they're talking about pushing Social Security back, and he's like, oh yeah, I've made my peace with the fact I'm not getting that. Like he's like, I've made my peace with the fact I'm not getting that.
For literally no reason at this point, like literally no reason. I love when you look at your pay stub. It's just like, a good like 20-ish% of the paycheck I would have gotten literally went to the government. Yeah. And I'm not getting that back. That's crazy.
When the government works my shift for me. That's
dog.
Cool. So, that's
when
awesome.
You say I'm a salary for 75, but then you realize after taxes you're only making about 55. Crazy. Directly to your bank account. Insane.
Yeah. Man. It's all good though. As long as I keep walking, breathing, and all that jazz, then I'll stomach it for another day. So speaking of stomaching stuff for another day, welcome back to the Pause Menu Podcast. I'm your host, Oscar Okechukwu. We are back at it again with another episode of the Pause Menu Podcast. Thank you guys so much for choosing us to listen to while you change your tires, go to work, do whatever you want to do. But we want to be the safe haven for you guys as we talk about video games. You know, we got some good gamers, good game lovers in the chat.
Yes, sir.
And as part of our listener viewer base. So that's always great to hear. I'm joined with me by one of my co-hosts, frequent co-hosts, Sam. Sam, you want to Give the people a shout out.
What up, y'all? It's your boy Sam. We out here and talking games. I'm sure Oscar's got some good topics cooked up, so it's just us today.
I got some good ones. Yeah, as I say, it's just us.
Hosts are,
yeah, no real ones.
Busy.
No real ones.
Stuff to do.
For
girlfriends.
Yeah, that. For context, I don't own this studio, so.
Yeah.
I had to move some stuff around, you know what I'm saying? Adjust some cameras, who knows? Maybe one day we could be in my crib. But as of now, it's not looking like that.
That's the dream right there, bro.
That's a dream. So but yeah, so starting off, I wanted to give some context on this episode. Obviously, Sam, we've asked you a lot of questions on the show.
Yes, sir.
But I think a really cool thing would be to treat this as like an actual interview-esque episode.
Oh my goodness, let's go.
So I've got a couple questions prepared.
Okay.
We did a little bit of talking about it while the cameras are still rolling and all that jazz, but I think a good thing to start off with would be game collecting, or I guess collecting in general, manga collecting, all that jazz. Collecting in general.
Yeah.
Right? Because you've been collecting for a while. You've been collecting longer than me. Been collecting longer than pretty much everybody else I know.
That's actually
so, kind of give us a background into how you got into that and just how that all started.
Okay, I got you. I mean, like everyone, it's just like you grow up, you see things you want, you realize that you're 12 and you have no money, and you decide when you're like early 20s, you know what, I'm going to do what 12-year-old me couldn't. Can't stop me now, Mom. And so that was
what
basically
the kids and the bureaucrats say, disposable income.
Literally, bro.
Because you might as well throw it in the trash disposal.
Listen,
but
in a way makes me feel good, and that's the thing,
Facts.
right? I think like if I had to go back, the first thing I started really collecting, probably manga, like here and there. Like when I was younger, I started picking up the Zelda manga from Barnes and Nobles. I would go there with my mom.
I was about to say,
Zelda manga was fire. If y'all haven't read it, they have like one for almost, I think, every game, because there was it's a two-parter for Four Swords Adventure. There was a Twilight Princess one, I know, that was like a few volumes.
There was an Ocarina of Time one.
Ocarina of Time one.
I think there was an Oracle of Seasons one too.
Yeah, both Oracle's games had mangas. I
don't think anyone's played Oracle of Seasons. I'm sorry, that's my conspiracy
that's what I'm
theory.
saying, bro.
So
like, dude,
I'll be honest, no one talks about it.
Outside of video essayists, who have you ever heard unironically talk about Oracle of Agents of Seasons like they've actually played it?
Yeah, I was watching Scott the Woz video, and it reminded me of the game's existence, because he was like, the Game Boy Color had like 2 dedicated Zelda games, and I was like, I mean, did it though?
I was like, I'm
kidding. Those were games, but like, did anyone play them though? Let's be.
Hey, shout out in the comments if you've actually played them. Like if you're a real person, I'm gonna need your IP address.
Facts. I hear people talk about Link's Awakening too. I mean, obviously before the remake, and I think Link's Awakening is bad. But
we're gonna have to talk about that in a little bit. I have like a weird relationship with top-down 2D Zeldas, in that like I look at them, say that I'm glad that they exist, and then never play any of them.
Have you played? So you haven't played A Link Between Worlds?
I've played a little bit of it back when I first started emulating. I was like, this is one of those games that real gamers play, so I must play this game.
So I gotta play this game. I gotta show me my gamer card.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Listen, the gamer imposter syndrome was going so crazy when I was like 15, 16. Dog. That's why I have like 5 Assassin's Creed games.
I like Titanfall. I like Titanfall for sure.
Dude, I was like, yeah. You'll I love games for their story and their aesthetics. Yeah. I play Splatoon.
Yeah.
Shout out, still haven't played Last of Us Squad. I'll get there one day though.
I was about to say.
But as far as like collecting, I started with manga, Zelda manga for sure. I started picking up other things here and there based on the anime I was watching. I remember, I think I got like one of the light novels for Sword Art Online back when I watched that way back in the day. I didn't get Attack on Titan until a lot later, but I did start picking up. I remember A Silent Voice when that came out. That was really good. Barakamon was there too, and so I was like slowly collecting, but it wasn't like seriously jumping into it like up until really a lot later in life. After that, especially when I got into college, I started getting into Magic. And that was a whole journey in and of itself. If you ever go to college, for those of you who haven't gone, make sure that you get a social group of people to spend time with, either in classes or outside of classes. You need that.
It's very natural. Yeah.
You really need that, bro. It's so lonely, especially freshman year, dude.
For sure.
Freshman year, like, especially because like I was homeschooled, right? So I came off of like being in mostly smaller communities between like church and like smaller groups and just like friends that I'd met, to being like, okay, I'm in this like really big space now. Like, okay, well, let me figure out what that means for me right now. Let me figure out what that means for like me socially and academically and all that stuff. And so I was like, I can't just be the dude who's different from other homeschoolers because he's black and nerdy. There's a lot of you who are black and nerdy out here. So what do I got now? And so in the midst of all of that like identity, soul searching jazz, I was like, I really want friends, but I also want to play this game. And it seems like if I play this game, I'll make friends. So I started burning too much money on Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
But like, it was fun, and it's been a fun hobby. Like I'm not nearly as deep into it now, but I will say I'm really glad that like I actually spent that time.
It's a good chapter.
You
know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? Like from like
it makes a cameo occasionally.
Okay. So I do have this story though, and I'm not sure. Like I feel really weird thinking about it because like there was this time really early on when I started getting into Magic, where I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go to this store like in between classes or whatever. I was actually after class or whatever, and I'm gonna go like get some cards so I can start playing, right? It's going to be fine.
Yeah.
To this day, I do not remember the name of the store whatsoever. I'm pretty sure I've driven in that area, and there's, like, nothing there, dog. I had no idea what happened. I remember I walked into the store, and I was, like, I was talking to some of the employees about trying to pick some stuff up, and they literally said to me, like, verbatim, and I remember this. They were just like, if you don't know what you want, go do some research before you start spending money, and then figure out what you want. And I was like, huh. You know, that makes sense. And so me as a gullible 18-year-old, I just like left. And like to this day, I know that it was like in the area of like what altered reality games and other stuff like in that area, like what like not as south as Akron, kind of like south.
Is that in Fairlawn?
Closer to like Fairlawn,
never mind,
in that area, you know? But like I still got
like Magic Store in Fairlawn. It's just so weird to think of in the same
dude.
vein.
That's what I'm
like,
saying. I'm like, you mean Barnes and Nobles?
I was
like,
I grew up in Fairlawn, and I was like, I don't even feel
dude,
that.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know how much like I have no idea like where those people are or if it was a real thing that happened. Low key, it might have been like an angel encounter kind of thing. But like, man, like, yeah. So Magic, that was another thing I collected. But I really started hitting my collector stride though. With manga, especially towards the end of college. I want to say it was 2020, more specifically. That was when I was starting to, I'd like hit 2 internships at that point.
Pandemic.
Pandemic. The pandemic started hitting. And I was like, okay, I was trying to like start honing in on who I wanted to be, stuff I actually liked, more than just being in, I'm gonna survive this semester mode. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like,
I'm just living. Don't mind me.
Actually, you know what really got me back into it, because I think at that point I'd already read Berserk. I'd read it online, and that entire experience was already amazing. But like I think at that point I was looking for something new to read, and I was like, okay, you know what? People keep saying Goodnight Punfun is a good read. I should probably check this out. And so I read it online in 2020. Probably a bad move. Like one of the most depressing stories you will ever read in your life, bro. Like this dude's life had me like so many times. Listen, do not read Punfun if you're currently going through depression. It will not help you. An amazing story, though. Inyo Asano to this day is one of my favorite authors. But, like, after I read Punfun, I was like, all right. So I read Berserk a couple years ago, and that changed my life. And I've read Punfun, and this has changed my life. I really should, like, own these works of art that have changed my life. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, from then I started collecting manga. It started out small with just stuff that I really wanted. Between, like, collecting Berserk was a whole experience because during the pandemic, just finding manga at all was difficult. So like so many of my different volumes have stories, especially getting Punfun. Like, that was hard. Between like Barnes and Noble, buying online from like Kinokuniya in Australia, buying from like Facebook Marketplace, buying from like people on freaking Reddit. Like I like almost every volume is from a different place, and I kind of love that. Like the whole like search of it, you know. That was when I started getting into Chainsaw Man. That was when I started like actually picking up more romances like Sweat and Soap. And it's like the whole thing just kind of blew up from there for real. But I feel like as far as things I've collected, manga is the one that I've definitely put the most time and effort into. I've really, really enjoyed seeing that grow, enjoying different stories. There's a small part of me that almost misses those kind of like pandemic days of collecting just because like
the hunt, you know what I'm saying?
The hunt, dude.
Yeah, I would 100% understand that because I finished collecting some series game-wise, and I've always been like, you mean there's nothing else? Like, so now I'm really starting to get into the niche stuff where it's like, well, there's a demo disc for this game. So like, maybe I can collect that.
Listen, see, that's how I'm feeling with Vita collecting right now because like, what was it? Was it the summer? Was it the summer 2021 that you, me, and Elliot started like looking for like more games? Like,
I think, yeah, it was
something like that.
Summer 2021.
It was either no. I think we started. Let me see. No, we definitely started a little bit in 2020. because I remember I had my PlayStation in 2021. That's when I played Persona 5 for the first time. But I'd had it beforehand, so I started getting into a little bit Facebook Marketplace like grind for like getting consoles. But it wasn't until that summer when we really started getting into, okay, let's try to find good deals. Let's try to pick up more games, bro.
Yeah.
When we were hunting for Pokemon, I remember that. That was so fun. I'm not going to lie. One of my favorite series of memories being like, bro, I'm on Craigslist and this kid is literally selling Sapphire and Ruby and Emerald, and all he wants is a Switch Lite that I already got off of Facebook Marketplace for a deal. Dude. But it's like, yeah, really around that time, that was when I started like picking up stuff from older consoles. I got a DS because I never got a DS growing up. I started.
You ever had a DS growing up?
Nope, mom was not about it, bro. See, I literally had to get my first like handheld that wasn't like a Game Boy, because like my dad got me and my sister Game Boy Advances, and he was kind of cool with it as long as we were doing schoolwork. Mom was not about games at all growing up. But like the first time I got anything kind of like a DS, I actually bought mine off of Kyle. And I didn't know it was Kyle at the time because
that was your 3DS though, right?
Yeah, it was my 3DS.
Yeah, I was
so like Christian had told me that one of his friends back in high school was like selling their 3DS, and I was like, well, I want a 3DS. How much? And he said $70. I was like, we can do that. We got a deal. So like listen, that's how I played Pokemon Y. That's how I played like Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. Man, that's how I played Fire Emblem Awakening. Banger game.
Peak.
Listen. But it really wasn't until like around 2021 where I really started collecting games more consistently, other than just like burning money on Steam sales. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, now the Switch collection is thriving. I'm really happy with that. And I've been doing a lot of Vita collecting over the past month, and then some DS collecting too. As far as like collecting right now, I'm really, really proud of the fact that I have almost every game I really, really want on Vita right now. I've got Dragon's Crown, I got Muramasa, I've got Odin Sphere, I've got Soul Sacrifice Delta, I got Freedom Wars. I think and I got Gravity Rush. I think the last one that I really, really want that I don't have is Persona 4 Golden. And then I'll have like finished my collection of things I really specifically want. And now I gotta actually start looking at the rest of the catalog and see if there's other things that I want to pick up. But yeah, that's me in collecting, bro.
I feel it. Yeah, it's always strange because you kind of have to, like, I always looked at collecting where it's like, all right, like, I try to rebuild like my library because, I would always be like, all right, like, I would do that same thing that every kid does where they're like, I want a new game, but I have to trade in an old game, right?
Oh, so, man, the GameStop trades, bro.
Yeah, so.
That's how you knew you had no job and no money except for birthday and Christmas money,
facts.
Man.
And you can drive,
when I needed my friends to drive me to GameStop, dog.
The worst part, too, was that, so there's also the exchange, which is like GameStop, but they just sell more stuff, right? Yeah. And I truly mean that like because their prices are wild. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Their prices are low key not it. So
and it's crazy too because it feels like they kind of know what the secondary market is doing, but at the same time they don't. But then they kind of do, and it's just like okay, like
yeah, I'm like, dude, you're selling a GameCube no core. It's $200.
Literally, dog.
What are you doing, bro?
Dude, I remember.
What are you doing?
Some of the prices aren't that bad. I picked up this Gaia 1 for PSP for like $20. That was all right. But there's just stuff like, okay, you guys want to buy Muramasa for PS Vita, right? That's $100. I'm like, bro, can you chill out?
No. Yeah, it's not great, but. I mean, now that obviously when you get older and like you're like, oh, like I want to throw some more money towards that. It's always great, especially because I came out from the standpoint where it's like I want to rebuild what I had when I was younger, and I did that, and like I'm like, oh, okay, like there's more stuff to get. I'm pretty sure. Like I had a PS2 growing up, and then eventually I was like, all right, like I've gotten all the stuff I used to have for my PS2. Let me kind of expand into that.
That's when you went into a PS3 and everything, right?
As I say, yeah, I got a couple more PS2 games. Then I got a PS3, got a couple PS3 games, and then I obviously have a PS5. Yeah. So I'm trying to round some of that out. Microsoft-wise, I have an Xbox One, and I have a 360 now, which I never had a 360 growing up. So that's kind of something that that's something that kind of healed like middle school me, where it's like, then, hey, bro, this thing is washed now, but like we got it. So even as a kid, I was looking specifically at the 360E. like this specific version of the 360.
Yeah.
And so like I just would never get it. Like I'd plan out and be like, okay, like if I save up this much money, then like a 360 is this, knowing I bring in $0 a month.
That's what
I bring in $0 a month. There's no point. But I mean, there's that. Nintendo wise, I have pretty much everything Nintendo wise, aside from like the NES and the SNES. So,
I mean, you can always get those.
As I say, you can always get those.
The
The people who wanted to collect those have already collected those.
Exactly.
I'm currently on the hunt for the OG Xbox.
Yeah. You were saying that.
I'm trying to, because people are selling their Series X's every day. So, and I'm like, first off, that's funny. Second,
the mini fridge.
As I say, the mid fridge. I'm trying to find one. But it's all good. I haven't really revealed it because like, you tell people you like actually want to buy a Series X and they're like gonna laugh at you. Literally. Like they're gonna be like, dog, what are you doing?
What?
So, but they have to be like, wait. I'm a collector. Wait.
I was about to say, this is you're at the point where you're literally just collecting to have, rather than like collecting for anything. You know what I'm saying? I feel it though. I really do.
Yeah, and I'm starting to round out some Sega stuff because I got a Dreamcast.
Yeah, you got the Dreamcast the other day.
I got the Saturn, which is underneath here.
Yo, can I let me see the controller real quick, actually.
Yeah. Okay,
people say the controller is actually still really good for fighting games. Hold on.
I can see it for fighting games, but I held it at first and I was like,
the D-pad,
this feels so weird.
It's not bad at all, though.
Yeah.
Can we get back to real buttons again with like tactile feedback? Can you hear that? I love that. That's so good.
Like I was so weirded out because like there was an A, B, and C.
Yeah.
And I was like, and an X, Y, and Z, and I was like, that's interesting. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I love that. But two of them can be basically like does it have trigger buttons too? Like shoulder buttons?
Yeah, but I don't like them.
Oh yeah, this is weird.
I was about to say, I don't like that
There's
at all.
No feedback there.
Yeah.
it feels like I shouldn't even be pressing the plastic, but I am.
I know. It feels like it shouldn't be pressed. We are literally fondling this controller, but like
it's okay. We have girlfriends; they understand.
Facts.
That might have made it a little weirder, but that's okay. Don't think about it too hard.
Like, I just look at this thing and I'm like, it's intriguing to me. I don't
look at
like
him. He's
the
just
thing.
there.
The thing about collecting too is that like,
what's all this space for?
Yeah, I was also it has
this opens, right? Yeah. So there's that. What is this for? Like the memory card?
It has a top loader. I actually think it's backwards compatible.
Oh dang.
With 32X games maybe.
Okay, I was about to say.
Yeah, because it's just so weird. I look at this and I'm like, Sega really should have. The Dreamcast is a great system, don't get me wrong, but I'm like, Sega should have committed to this thing. This thing was pretty cool because I booted up Daytona USA, which is like a racing game from
back in the day,
mid-90s
when games were good.
Oh man, back when they made quality games, great games, phenomenal games
for gamers, bro.
Games for real gamers, and like. I was like, this is cool. Like this is like going back in time. It's not like I'm playing like an NES game and it's like it's just.
And it's just like, oh boy,
and I'm like
4 pixels.
I know. I'm like, oh dog. Like I'm sorry. Like this is not it. It's even worse when you account for inflation. Like people were spending like low key kind of bands on this stuff. And I'm like, I'm sorry. If I was, unless you brought like Mario in front of me or something, I would not have been a gamer if I grew up in the 80s or something.
That's the main reason where I'm like, when you look at the price trends, I'm like, I don't super like it, but I'm okay with games starting to be $70 because proportionally, people were spending more on games in the 80s and 90s than we are right now,
Yeah, like it's always the thing where it's like obviously all games are made equal, so like all their prices of course are. I mean, so it's like it's that one Donkey video, which is my favorite Donkey video easily, and it's this video on video game pricing. It's like you asked me to pay $70 for something like God of War. Hey, I'm cool with it.
Easy.
But you asked me to pay $60 for Pokemon Sword? Yeah, bro, I'm good. No, I'm good.
Dude, remember when freaking, what was it, Kirby Star Allies came out?
That is the biggest one that the two of us have talked about.
Because when it was coming out, we saw the trailers. We're like, yo, day one.
Yeah, we were like,
day
one. Cool, for sure,
until they said $60, I was like, for what?
Again, guys, I like to low-key consider myself a Kirby fan. I've played a good amount of Kirby entries. I've played Star Allies, I've played Triple Deluxe, I've played Return to Dreamland. I played Kirby 1, Kirby 2. That was going to
be my entry into Kirby. I was like, I could see myself starting getting into the franchise with this one. And I was like, okay, $40 game where it's a celebration of the franchise? Sure. $60 when I'm in college? Are you serious? No, dog. Listen, there's no amount of throwing hearts and having happy dances that's gonna make me
People
throw
talk about
$60 in that game, bro.
People talk about Nintendo's pricing all the time and how like Nintendo games never go down in quality. And obviously it's because they're a pretty good developer. They they do what they do. But like I feel like there are some franchises that aren't immune to that. Like there are some franchises that budge to that. Kirby's one of those franchises that like they're like, whoa, we can bring this one down.
If Nintendo is a bakery, some cookies are allowed to get a little stale before they freshen them up with a new batch. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like they're never gonna let Mario be stale, bro. Like they're gonna give you the same recipe for a while.
It's so funny. You remember
mix it, yeah.
You remember until what Mario game stopped this discussion? But there was like a while where people were like, Nintendo's forgotten about Mario. Or like, it was actually, I shouldn't say people. It was like one video. And so many people were talking about how outrageous it was. Because people were like, Nintendo obviously hasn't forgotten about Mario. Exactly. But the dude was just like, it's been 3 years since Odyssey. It's like, I don't know, dog. Video games take a while to make.
Maybe the game was good enough and it's still in the public consciousness enough that they don't need to throw another
Odyssey
one at us
also
right
got
now?
DLC. So like.
Oh wait, it did.
Like,
The
I thought the Luigi
stuff, right?
Yeah, I thought the Luigi stuff was post.
I mean, it was like post game, but I think it was like a free update later on. I don't know if was it full DLC.
I mean, that is downloadable content. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
the way the brain rot has made me associate DLC with always needing to be paid. No, bad industry trends, bad.
It's so wild. Yeah, I remember. Dunky was also talking about this too. How there was a publisher that was going to like release free DLC. Yeah. And Microsoft blocked them because they didn't like them setting the precedent of there being free DLC. And what do you know? Microsoft has introduced so many bad trends in this industry. Paid online is one of them because, like you truly take for granted the fact that I can boot up my PC and just play with my friends. And I don't have to pay like you have to pay
your ISP being like, yeah, actually, we're going to be charging you an extra bill monthly because we see that you're playing games using our provider like Spectrum. Yeah. Spectrum being like $30 games tax on top of everything. What?
It's like you're playing games, buddy. We're gonna have to stop that. They came for the gamers.
Truly the most oppressed group.
I don't know. It's not. This one is more so a thing where it's like there's a hidden beauty to this.
Yeah.
Like there's so many different consoles. Like I look at them and I'm like, I'm so interested. Sega has like all of them. The Dreamcast, I'm like, this is so.
The design is so like
I'm drawn to it.
Futuristic almost.
I know. I'm drawn to this thing.
Also, think about this, right? The format of this is flat. But most of the consoles that we have in this generation, Switch, PS5, and Xbox Series S, they're meant to be like kind of more vertical.
Yeah.
Think about it. This is interesting. We don't have stuff like this anymore. You know? And it makes me think of like a CD player. And if you think
this thing plays CDs, I think.
Yeah, exactly. If you think about the design language of that, it's just like, oh yeah, because people would have had CD players when this came out. So it's like, you instinctively know what to do with this thing. Oh yeah, you press the button and you put your disc in. You know, I love that.
Yeah, it's like, man. But then I look at some systems like the OG Xbox, and I'm like, this thing is ugly, but it also draws me to it still. I'm like, I'm still drawn to this thing.
It like compels you. You know what I'm saying?
It
compels me.
I think the design of consoles is like such an interesting topic. Like, I don't think I've ever really. I'm hesitant to call a console dull looking. You know what I mean? Because like even like because people talk about the Xbox One, the original Xbox One. I think is like an outlier, honestly. I think it actually just is ugly. But like the revision they did, like the Xbox One S, I was like, okay, like this.
And it was slimmer and everything too.
As I say, it was slimmer, it was sleeker. I have it in white, and so I like I love how it looks.
Okay, gotcha. Are you like a white console person, or like a dark console person, or does it depend on the console?
Yeah, I guess it depends on the form factor because like I like my console to stand out actually. So because like I like walking to someone's room and like looking at their Switch and I'm like, oh, like it's right they place their Switch there. I'm weird, okay? So like I look at like console placement. I'm like, oh, okay, they placed it there. That's kind of cool. Like I know you have yours mounted on your wall, which I think is really dope. Because it saves a lot of space. I wish I could mount mine, honestly.
I'm really trying to do that in every place that I live in. But like, I feel like, because my thing is like, I think a lot of that, for me at least, has to do with the colors of like the rest of the area for you. Because I'm like, if like for example, if I had like moved to a new place and like the entire area is already dark, do I also want all my consoles to be dark too, where they kind of blend into the wall? Not really.
Yeah, not really.
You know, and then it gets into kind of like an interior.
I feel like there you have to like you have to let your home theater do some of that for you. You know what I'm saying?
You know, it's like maybe then the home theater would be white, and then I would have all. Because I'm a very big dark consoles person. I don't know why. I like my tech either to have a bright color or just be like a gray or a black. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't really like white as a color for things that I'm gonna have my hands on, because I'm just like, I feel like it's gonna look like I'm using it after a while, and I don't like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because like, it's easier. It's like easier for me to say, let me buy something secondhand if it's like darker in color, so that way the age doesn't show.
That's
as
also
much,
a thing too, where it's like, I only buy things secondhand, like if I can tell that, like, oh, okay, it's still in
like
good shape.
They took care of it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like, I'm like, okay, the DS is $20, but like it has all these scratches from who knows where. I don't really want that. You know? Like, I'm like,
and it's just like,
I don't really want that.
On reshelling it, it's just like, I really want to throw that at that right now. You know?
Yeah, I was gonna say the only time that I ever like moved past that was because, granted, he was like, oh, I have Sapphire, and like he like did it, but like I looked at the front of it, and he was like, oh yeah, my dog chewed on it, and I was like, but it still works, and I was like, okay. I'm buying a repro, and I'm reshelling this. I'm buying that repro, so. So thanks for telling me, buddy. I don't want to put my hand on something your dog bit. Like, who knows how many. So like that copy of Sapphire is at least set on my shelf for like I don't even know how long.
I love that. Listen, the whole game of getting slightly older games is just so wild right now. Honestly,
yeah, it's
you gotta jump through so many hoops. I really wonder if this would be different if we lived somewhere like New York. I feel like it would be low key easier. Because with so many people, you know what I'm saying? With like a denser population center.
I don't know. Because like sometimes I look at deals in Pennsylvania and like Michigan, especially because like, you know, Elliot, he uses my Facebook account. So you know, I get a lot of Michigan stuff show up on my like For Me. Kind of wild how every social media is doing like a For You page. Literally. It was like when every social media started doing like short form content. And I was like, dude, I'm not watching Instagram Reel, except when my girlfriend sends me one. So that's different.
Real.
But
real.
Except she sends me one. So, but I'm like, I don't know. Like, I deleted all my socials a while back because I was like, oh, I can feel the brain rot literally.
When you find yourself scrolling, like when you're at a stop sign, it's just like, okay.
But it's like, even just a thing where it's like, that is true. But like, it's also just a thing where it's like, when you're laying in bed and like, yo, you're not doing it. Like, I would like brush my teeth and I'd be like, dude, I'm like, all right, this is too much. This is too much. So I deleted everything except YouTube because I was like, oh, I don't really see this on social media. But then I watched a YouTube video a long time ago. This is even before I went on my recent fast. Yeah. And the dude was like, yeah, I deleted everything except YouTube. But like, I just found that I just watched way more YouTube now. Like, I was like, and YouTube has YouTube Shorts. Like, and then all of a sudden, my YouTube Shorts, it hasn't gotten there yet, but like, my YouTube Shorts like started recommending me stuff that like I actually wanted to watch. And so I was like, oh,
well, like just more content, more content, more consumption.
Yeah.
And trying to eliminate distractions is like an actual effort you have to make, bro. It's so wild because I've been trying to do that a lot more with my like personal life. Where I'm like, all right, like, because I even in talking with my counselor about this and just like talking with different friends, I'm like, you know, like I'm finding myself a lot more at peace and able to just like do things if I like focus on doing them one thing at a time. Because I feel like for me, like, the way my anxiety tends to manifest is when there's a lot of decisions I have to make. And even if I know that I can make them all well, it's about choosing them and actually doing them that gets me. And so the decision paralysis really makes me like pull back from doing anything. And so what helps me is being like, all right, let's close all these tabs. I don't need Discord open. Let's close Discord. I don't really need like YouTube or anything right now. Let's close that except for like maybe one thing of like music that'll help me actually focus and do something. We pick one thing and we just do it because like, dude, it is so easy to be like, you know what? I'm going to do this at work. Hold on. Someone just like, I got a notification from Instagram. Let me check that real quick. And then it's just like an hour and a half goes by and I've done like this much of anything, whether it's work or hobbies or just like stuff that I need to do for my life. Dude.
I 100% feel that because, you know, in a way, bringing it back to gaming, like, you know, I like to like unwind with the game, but obviously I talk to my girlfriend at the end of the night. And so
real men do.
I was like my girlfriend would tell me stuff and, you know, she'd be like, oh, like, did you hear what I said? And I was like, oh, yeah. I was like, yeah, I heard you. Yeah. And then she's like, what did I say then? I was like, I was like, you said something about this. And she's like,
why would you assume I'm not listening to you, babe?
I was like, I don't know. It's like, and she was like, congrats, you got like 25% of it. And I was like, oh. And so eventually I was like, you know what? Like, I don't need to be playing on my thing while I'm like on. Like I can just like be in the moment. Like it's different. Like because sometimes we'll both play video games on FaceTime, and so now I'm like, oh, okay, it's fine if I do that, and then like we'll just like be talking to each other like while we're playing something. But like if she's like eating or whatever, and like she's like genuinely talking or describing something, like I don't have to be playing this thing right now. I can play it later, or like I can play it like right before I go to bed or something. You know what I'm saying? Like it's even though you're not supposed to be holding something right before you go to bed, but either way,
blue light blockers, baby, blue light blockers, get on that.
I loaded up these glasses, by the way. So,
bro, the way glasses and coatings be expensive is insane to me, dog. Let's not even get into that. That's a whole other topic for a whole other podcast.
I looked through my statements a while back, or not a while back, today. I looked through my statements today, and I was like, man. Spent $190 on contacts. Like it's a year's supply, obviously, but like I'm like,
but still, dog. I'm telling you, when I bought these,
kind of wild how you have to pay to see.
Literally, dude. I bought like these glasses and some other ones. It was like $170, and I didn't even like. I had to pick either between transitions or blue blocking because the transitions would have come with blue blocking, but that would have added like $200 for both of them, and I was like, do I want to spend $400 on 2 pairs? I don't want to spend $170. We'll do the $170, and I'll deal with the sun.
Yeah, I was looking forward to getting new frames this year too, but like I was like, oh, let me use my insurance on my contact lenses, and they're like, oh yeah, with that, like it's still like $150. I'm like, dog, okay, so I'm
telling you, you got to put money away for frames these days. But
getting away from that, like, it's just present, especially like when it comes to games too. That's also another thing I kind of want to talk about, where, kind of being attentive, like during your hobbies and stuff. Cause like, that was something where it's like, I couldn't even like I was reading One Piece and I was reading One Piece at a very good clip.
Let's get it, baby.
But then all of a sudden I just stopped and I was like, oh, okay, like I'm going to like read One Piece tonight. And then like the last time I read One Piece, I read a couple pages and I just stopped. Like, and it wasn't like I was bored or anything. Like, like they literally just introduced a Koichi or whatever, like, or what, like the admiral who like freezes stuff. And I was like, dog, what is wrong with me? Like, I was running to a thing where it's like I would play a game for like 2 hours and I'd be like, oh, okay, that's fine. Like, it's whatever. Listen, like, Perfect Dark, I enjoyed Perfect Dark a lot, but like I just didn't go back to it. And that's when I knew I was like, all right, I need a break from like social media or something. Like, all right, I need to just like do one thing at a time so like I can like be invested in the things that I do. And right after that, I completed like 5 games. So
I'm telling you, I really, really feel that. Like, even like more recently, where I remember I was like sitting down and I was trying to paint a model, because I build Gunpla and like plastic models and stuff. And I was like, okay, like, why am I feeling like this is going slow? Because I'm like, this is a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah,
I've got nothing going on. I have nothing that's like pressing me for time. Why do I feel impatient right now?
There's no Subway Surfers video. How am I supposed to get through this?
Literally. So I was like, you know what? Let's just focus on sitting here and enjoying this. Yeah. And I made some really good headway, and then I was able to transition to doing something else later on. And it's like, I've been really realizing, and I've even talked with this with different friends and my counselor. I'm just like, I think I'm just used to being overstimulated like all the time.
Yeah.
Like 100%. Like even at this point with music, I'm realizing that it's really a 50-50 whether or not I actually need music to focus or I'm playing music just because I'm used to having something in the background.
Yeah. Oh man, that's so real because I'm like, oh yeah, like because every single year I'm always surprised. I'm like, oh, I didn't listen to that much music. That's so weird. Like, but I used to feel like I had music like in my ear all the time.
Yeah.
Like sometimes at work, like my noise canceling headphones, the one thing about them is that like I said noise canceling, but like they really drive home the point that like the only thing in your ear is this Muse song. Yo. And I'm like, all right, dog, I got to give the Baby Tron a rest. Otherwise my head is going to explode. And so like, I'll just turn it off. And like, even though like I'm combing through an Excel file, like hearing my coworkers in the background, like it makes me feel like, okay, like I'm alive. Like, yeah, like
I'm here.
I was like, yeah, like I'm alive. I'm not just like,
I'm not simply a machine.
I'm not just staring at a rectangle all day. So.
And maybe that's part of the thing, right? I feel like the push for overwhelming productivity, at least for me, has manifested or resulted for me in either in a mix of both feeling guilty for not doing enough things, but also feeling overwhelmed by the pressure that I put on myself to do more things, which makes me want to do less things, and I end up doing nothing.
Yeah.
And so, like, I've been trying a lot to just slow down, give myself a few goals for, like, the day or for the week or whatever, and then just take it one at a time. Like, even, like, recently where, like, I've had this, I'm doing a coding project for myself, and then I've also been, doing stuff at work, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to, like, take up, since work is slow right now, since I'm doing a lot of training, I was like, you know what, I can probably do this while I work and while I do some other stuff at work too, but let me, like, figure out how to balance it. And so I'm like, okay, let's work on a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit there, instead of being like, I have to juggle all of these things at the same time. It's like, nope, 15 minutes here, 15 minutes here, 15 minutes here. Just give yourself a timer and go back and forth. It's that easy. It's that simple,
No, for real. But I mean, we're getting there for sure. It's definitely made me, have some more headway. So
for sure.
But we talked a little bit about collecting.
Yeah.
That's kind of where we left off there.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that's on your mind in terms of what you want to collect eventually? Because I feel like I personally am in an era right now, or in a season where I'm just collecting to collect. Honestly, I feel like I lucked into the streak I have right now with consoles, because this is like my third console in the past like 2 weeks. So
let's get it, baby.
Yeah, so like I lucked into this, so I'm like, oh, okay, I might as well keep going and like finding more stuff. But like, do you normally have a game plan? Like, do you have a game plan right now, or like what's going on?
For me, it's usually like whatever the vibe is at the time. Like when I started picking up Vita stuff, it was literally because I'd gotten into the Atelier series. I was looking for YouTubers who talked about this. I found Britta, Food for Dogs. She's a great channel. She's like an older lady who lives in New Zealand and talks about games. And I was like watching her channel, and she loves the Vita as a system. So I was like, you know what? Let me see what other games are on here. And just like seeing the amount of good stuff that was there, I was like, you know what? Let me pick some of these up, because I want to experience
libraries.
The libraries kind of underrated. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. So like,
I don't think I've ever heard anyone say anything bad really about the Vita. I mean, maybe there's some revisionist history, or maybe I wasn't as deep engrossed in Vita discourse back when I was 13.
Literally.
But
the biggest vibe I remember from that time is that people just didn't really care. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, people just didn't really care. And like they were just the Vita exists.
I'd rather have that than gaming discourse now, which is either I like it or I hate it.
Yeah.
Versus,
or I have to have an opinion on this.
Exactly.
Thing,
versus
like,
either I like it or I just don't really care, but I don't actively hate it. You know what I'm saying? Because if the Vita had been flopping in 2020, Twitter discourse would have eaten Sony alive.
Oh yeah.
That would have been crazy.
I mean, look at how they're eating up Microsoft. So yeah.
I mean, they kind of deserve it at this point, but I mean,
that's what I say. That's Microsoft.
That's
anyway,
my Brainrot talk. But yeah, like I think as far as next steps, as far as collecting, most of it, really, I'm just gonna see where the wind takes me. Although I do kind of want to start getting into shoes, because low key, I'm like, not even just sneakers. Even though sneakers are where I want to start, like I feel like there's a lot of different types of shoes that I could really get into, that I really just haven't spent the time like looking into. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because like I really want to start getting into boots. I think boots are really, really cool. I want to start.
Oh, dude, I'm trying to cop some Doc Martens.
Listen, dude, I'm trying to get some Doc Martens. Some Chelsea boots would be great too, low key. I feel like I really want to start dipping into like loafers and a little bit more like, kind of classy casual wear. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. But we'll see. I don't have any like big plans right now, because the way that I look at a lot of my hobbies and the things that I want to spend my money on kind of goes in, okay, my biggest priority is whatever like I'm currently like collecting as far as like my free time money. Then after that, it's like, okay, like whatever I'm really kind of, then it's like, okay, what other like bigger projects do I have? Like right now, I've put like the put things on the wall like project on the backlog for like literally since I moved in, because I had so many, because literally like game collecting was taking a lot of my excess money. I was the majority of the room is set up, we're good now. I'm either collecting manga or I'm collecting games. I can get my displays later, and I need to get back on that, because I hate how sometimes artworks will be taken off a display without warning you that they're going to be taken off a display, and then they're just gone, and then it's just gone.
It's like, well, I didn't even know who that artist was, so that's cool. So
dude, I
can't even track them down and
kind of rethink the whole strategy at this point, you know. So like, really just like I want to something gonna be closed, definitely gonna be like. Then it's gonna, as far as products goes, it's gonna be like room stuff, and then I think right now the big thing for me is just kind of like redoing my wardrobe, because I finally have an idea of like the aesthetics I'm trying to go for, where it's a lot of earth tones, a lot of kind of comfy, like looser fitting stuff. Just trying to like actually lead into my style right now. So that's where like more of like my disposable income is starting to go. Definitely, I think that's going to be like the next kind of focus as far as like just collecting stuff, and definitely things that are more clothing and accessory related. Or really see from there. You know, it's just like I feel like the priorities in my life are really always just kind of like wherever I feel is the biggest kind of lack in the area. You know what I'm saying? It's like my mental health is solid and my spiritual health is solid. It's like, all right, what other parts of myself do I want to improve? I'm like my mom in that like we both will be in a space and be like, all right, let's work on fixing that. Okay, that's fixed. Let's work on improving that.
Yeah, taking inventory. Yeah,
exactly. You know, so yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. What about you, boss?
I feel it. Yeah, I mean, like, you know, in terms of shoes, I'm not leaning towards collecting them right now, but you know, it's something where it's like I definitely want to eventually.
Yeah.
And my life's goal is to own a pair of Travis Scotts one day.
Real.
But, you know, we'll see.
StockX.
I was gonna say StockX. But you know, I'm still on the grind console wise. You know, I would really love to finish off all the PlayStation consoles.
Yeah.
Because I have a weird relationship where it's like I could have gotten a PS4 Pro a while ago, but you know, I didn't. And I'm still in the situation where it's like, like I don't really want a PS4 Pro because like my PS5 is basically a PS4 Pro, so it's like
slightly.
I'm like, like I don't know.
Where we're gonna put it and everything, and if I don't need it, you know.
Yeah. Yo, trying to find a PS1 that's like, you know, like a really good deal because like, you know, there's a PS1 Classic, so like you can find a loose PS1 for like $30-something bucks.
Yeah.
But like I mean, you know, I might be just getting too greedy, and I might just be like, you know what, like this is fine. You know, I could just jump on this.
Have you ever thought about getting like something like a console or something like for parts, and you wanted to fix it, or like wanting to take one that's like still functioning but like kind of ratty and do like a reshell or something like that?
Maybe eventually when I plateau with all this, yeah. So like I've always thought, I'm like, man, where do you go? Because Scott the Lost has a really good game collecting video where he's like, yeah, eventually when you just kind of plateau with this stuff, you're like, all right, I guess I'll get Bobble for the Saturn. It's like, and you're just like, well, I mean, you know, there's always like, he also talked a little bit about how there's always that, you know, cherishing the smaller collection you used to have because it's like, yeah, I mean, they aren't a lot, but like these are my games. And like, you know, I'm still in that part of the collection where it's like, you know, like everything I own is like stuff that like I can give a good memory about, or it's like, oh, like, you know, like
you really wanted, or you really anticipated picking up.
Like, you know, I can take this off the shelf and enjoy that.
So now I gotta ask you, what's your dream like game room? Because I know you've thought about this. Because I think everyone who collects has thought about what your dream space would be. What does that look like for you? Like, give me the layout real quick.
That was a question I was gonna ask you.
That's so crazy.
But yeah, let's get into it. So, dream game room. So I've thought about this a lot. So I'd like to have, you know, a main 4K TV.
Okay. On the wall, or like on like a console or something like that.
Wall.
Okay.
Ooh, so it would be on a wall, but I'd have a home entertainment system that would, like, I was thinking of maybe like workshopping my own home entertainment system because I'd want well, actually, no. I would only need 4 slots because I would want a console from like each major so I'd want the Nintendo console I'm using the most right now.
Yeah.
The Sony console I'm using the most right now, Microsoft console I'm using the most right now, and like the Sega console I'm using the most.
I love
and
that.
then I would have like a glass display case with every other console and its accessories. So like I would have I'd also
you can,
want
like, rotate them out whenever you feel like it kind of.
Yeah, so I could rotate them out and stuff. And that idea I definitely stole from Scott because he explained a little bit about game rooms and stuff. But I would want to have all that. But I also want to like put like all the peripherals like around it, so it's like it's kind of like I'd want to give it a museum-esque vibe where like there's like a PS1 and like a booklet of the PS1 and like a box. Right now, I'll put it on the screen as well. But right now my setup is like I have my Wii U box and then next to it are my Wii U games. And then like like I have like
that, actually.
I have like a amiibo from the Wii U era like around there too. So like it's like very like
stuff that kind of like evokes what it is.
As I say, yeah.
Because like the presentation is half the battle right there.
As I say, that's the biggest thing I want to nail, the presentation. And one thing I like about kind of like the way the Exchange had their store set up is that like there's a logo of each like thing
Yes,
above.
that is
Yeah, so I
actually
wanted
cool.
to
I
like
love that.
buy either LED lights or like make my own like glowing logos, like and have them above like the individual shelves of like the game systems.
I got you.
I want to have them organized like by release, so it's like all the Nintendo Switch games alphabetically, and then after those will be Wii U games, and then Wii games, and then blah blah. It's like, you know, I've always thought about the idea of having like a game library, like where it's like, hey yo, like you can grab anything. That's how, because I explained that, I present it that way to my sister. I'm like, anytime you want to grab a game, you come in here. The only thing she grabs is like Fire Emblem. So she's like,
hey, that's
so
good
like,
taste. Though.
Okay,
she's got some good taste though.
It's funny. I recently bought Birthright. And I handed it to her, and I was like, I hear you really like trash, so here you go. More Fire Emblem trash. And she was like, thank you.
Let's get it, baby.
And she was like, well, actually, I've already played Birthright. And I'm like, but I will replay this, so thank you.
Real.
But, yeah, so that's another thing I like to have. A lot of couch space. I'd have some bean bags. You know, primarily I would like a really large, like maybe like a U couch.
I was about to say, because that's all going to be facing like the TV and everything.
As I say, like a U couch, and then like maybe like 2 bean bags in the middle.
Yeah.
And like a nice rug there too. Obviously, it'd be all carpeted as well.
Yes, sir.
You know, is there anything? I'd have like a small little bar too, like bar area.
Oh, kind of like what Sam has at his house, right?
As I say, what Sam has at his house.
I kind of really love that. I'm not
actually
gonna lie to you.
Kind of just exactly what Sam has at his house. So, I want to have like, you know, a mini fridge like in a very central area.
Yeah,
like,
or like near the console kind of stuff.
Oh,
so that way, yeah.
A way I figured this out was that like, you know, there'd be like a round table in the middle.
Yeah.
But like the round table would be like a round fridge. So like it would be like anybody can like lean into the middle
there, you can see that
and like take a drink.
I love that.
So like that's how I always envision that.
Do you want like your PC to be in that same room?
No, I'd want my PC to be in my room. So.
Okay, I got you.
I think one thing I might do is like I might make like I might have like a streaming rig like in my room, and then like have like another gaming rig like in my basement.
Okay, I got you. Like in the gaming area.
But yeah, like in the.
Because I've thought about that, right? Where it's just like, if I'm gonna have like my main gaming rig there, I'm probably gonna need something else somewhere else. You know.
I've also thought about having a version of a console that I play and a version of a console that I display. Ooh, because
I like that.
I
like
grew
for
up
those
with
of y'all who got like that Animal Crossing like Switch, be like, this one's only for show, baby.
Oh yeah, Oh, man.
Or like that Galaxy 3DS.
Yeah, I saw one of those TikToks where this dude had like 7 Switches, and I was like, I'll never die. Because okay, the way he presented it, was he was like, oh, why do you need 7 Switches? And he was like, this is my Switch only for Pokemon. This is my Switch only for Mario. I was like, dude, what? I was like, that is so insane.
There are children who can't eat right now.
Dude, I was
in your community.
I literally was like, there is no way you told me to my face straight up that irony. You have a Switch with only Mario games on it. There's no way. You have a Switch dedicated to playing Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games? Nah, dog. I'm good. Bro has a Switch that he dedicates to playing Mario versus Donkey Kong.
No.
That was like me going, yeah, guys, this is my Kirby Switch.
See, this is why, like, instead of layoffs hitting Nintendo, layoffs should start hitting Nintendo fans. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're a really big fan of Nintendo like that, I want you to lose your job. See how it feels.
Oh, man. Let's have that one Boogie 298 video where he's like, I had to pay rent. I had to do Tears of the Kingdom came out. I had to buy it. Final Fantasy 17 came out. I had to buy it.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God.
When you start putting games up there with rents, I'm sorry, dog. No.
I have a lot of essential purchases. My car note, my rent, and Final Fantasy 16.
It's like, if you don't sit down and go eat McDonald's and save your $30, please.
I mean, that's also an essential purchase. I'm sorry. This episode's not about him.
We are too unserious right now. Calm down. We gotta focus up.
Yeah. So
game collecting, gamer room. Talked about games to consoles to display. You know what I'm saying? Like special edition kind of stuff, maybe.
Yeah. Like I think I would definitely want to have like where it's like, oh, this unique version of this thing.
Yeah.
I think rebrands of stuff is like a little much. Like I'm not gonna get like the Animal Crossing Switch Lite, and I have to get the Pokemon Switch Lite, and I have to get
I know, right?
like more so like the Switch OLED is Switch Lite. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Where it's like there's genuine differences between these things. You know what I'm saying?
Or even just the ones that really mean a lot to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like, you know, I feel like that makes more sense because obviously Switch Lite is different. Like a Game Boy SP is different from a regular Game Boy.
You know?
Like, come on now, dog. Like, do you really need the Animal Crossing branded one? Like, for ones that more so, like you said, like they mean more to me. Where it's like, I would love to get the BDSP Switch Lite, even though it's like $600 now. But you know, so
we love the secondary market, baby.
You know, who knows?
Yeah, but like having it, like having stuff that like you want to display. Because I feel like I would display like my original 3DS. That's why I haven't gotten rid of it. Because even though it doesn't really work, I'm just like, this is where it all started, baby.
As I said, yeah, stuff like that. Literally. Where I have the original DS, like the fat one that like everyone hated. I'm like, hey, it holds a charge for 20 minutes, but
this is where it started.
It's where it started.
This is Grandpa.
So, as I say,
this is the reason we have the Switch. Let's not get it twisted now.
These the elders, you know what I'm saying? So
you gotta respect your elders, man.
Gotta respect them. But,
okay, I love that though. I love that. I feel like
that's pretty much mine though. So
I feel like I want something kind of similar. Like for me, I think the biggest thing that comes to my mind when I think about like a dedicated gaming room is I want to frame specific games. Especially games from my childhood. Like,
that's a good idea.
I'm not playing any of my OG Mega Man Battle Network games because I like the idea of keeping younger me's save files because it's been like so long since I've played those games and I was that kid that I'm like, you know what? I want to keep those for him, you know? So I want to frame all of them, the ones that I had, and like have them somewhere. And I want to do that with a few of my older games for sure.
Yeah, for each of my systems, I always have like a central game that I pair with. Like for the Switch, it's Three Houses because like that's I just go like favorite game from each thing. So for the PS2, it's Sly 1. But like some of them also hold like significance. Like the PS2 one, like Luke got that for me for my birthday. Yeah, and it was sealed, and so I was like, I'm just gonna keep it sealed because I'm always like, I could play Sly 1 whenever. I've played Sly 1 a billion times. I don't need to open up this sealed copy of Sly 1 and play it.
Ooh, that does bring another question though. Yeah. Collecting sealed or unsealed?
I'm of the opinion that you should play video games.
There we go. That's what I'm saying, baby.
So, like, I've just been like, it's just dumb. Like, and I'm so glad so many other people share the same opinion of me where it's like, dude, like, I'm not going to send my thing to Wattbar or whatever, with like a company that rates them. They're just like, oh, yeah, you really didn't open this one. 9.8. Yeah. I'm like,
what does that do? Is this am I trying to resell? Like, is that the point?
No, but like, it's like one of those things where
it's like dudes to be like, don't crease your sneakers, dog. It's a shoe.
Like, it's different.
It's a shoe.
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna be wearing this. Like, obviously, I don't like moving through the grass with this stuff. You know what I'm saying? But like, like I'm gonna wear my shoe.
Because you want it to look good.
And it's even different for paintings too, because it's like, it's kind of different because like I can still look at that painting. The painting's meant to be looked at. There's no other way I can interact with that painting.
Exactly.
But like,
unless you want to eat it or something like that.
I don't think the composer of like Final Fantasy VII doesn't want me to not play Final Fantasy VII.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, people can make the argument where it's like, oh, I can play it on an emulator. Where it's like, there's just something different about playing something on the original. Like, some dude from the 90s bought this thing and was like, oh, I had so many good memories with it. And now I can kind of experience the same thing as somebody from the 90s. Like, I booted up an NBA game from here and I was like, man, I can't even see the dude's numbers on their jerseys. There's so many pixels on this thing, but still.
It's what they was working with back then.
Yeah. But I was like, man, this is it. This was it.
That's
so
what I'm saying.
like,
it's like, I mean, you've experienced this because you're like, you're a systems engineer, but it's just like, think about coming to the end of a project and you're like, whatever we promised the customer is finished and it's done. And whenever they use this thing, it will be in part because of me. Yeah. Think about inventing something like this where you're like, because of my work on this, anytime someone uses this thing or enjoys something because of it, it was in some part because of me. And that's kind of really beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, or you could like invent the 360 and be like, anytime someone returns that, it was because of me. Like, anytime someone calls Microsoft support and they say, oh, yeah, we're not helping you, that's because of me.
Yeah. I told my boss that this was going to be an overheating issue. and he just booked a second cruise. But it's just like, dude, like there's a magic to like working with something that's like, was built and made specifically for that, and I think I don't want to lose. That's why I love physical games, bro.
Oh,
that's
my
why
goodness.
I'm a big fan, dog. The fact that I can't have physical copies of my entire Steam collection is kind of sad to me, because we don't even get the physical PC games coming out that have a disc that is useless and comes with the code anyway anymore.
Yeah.
We just don't. That's just gone.
Yeah, that's just gone. There's even rumors that Microsoft's going to release like an all-digital Series X soon.
Ooh, see, listen. When the PS5 was coming out, I was like, you better believe I'm not getting a digital one. Are you serious?
Oh, yeah, I was going to say.
That's not even a question.
It's so funny, too, because everyone else shared that sentiment where they were just like, oh, yeah, we don't have any of the disc ones, but we got the digital ones. I was like nah, you can keep those. It's cool. Listen, I didn't start playing video games at like the age of like 35 in 2024. Okay, like come on. I've been playing. I don't know. Maybe this is just something about like having something to collect that just activates the dopamine receptors in my brain specifically. But it's like I want to hold it. You know what I'm saying?
It's like mine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
don't have to worry about Funimation saying, because we're going under, we're gonna yoink all your stuff.
Yeah, like it's one of those things where I was at a crossroads like a couple months ago where I was like, do I count my Steam library as like my games? Like, and I kind of was of the opinion, I was like, well, I mean, I bought them when I was younger, so yeah, but like I don't feel that way about the games I buy now on Steam. Like I just bought Helldivers 2, but like I don't really feel like I own Helldivers 2.
Yeah,
I'm just like,
especially a live service game. Does anyone really own that except for the company?
I was about to say no one really owns Fortnite, so like, it's like that. The moment the servers close on that game, it's over. It's gone, it's pretty much, bro. So yeah.
But yeah, like I want to frame some games. I want to frame some games for sure, especially games from my childhood. I really do love the idea of like having a combined like reading area, game area. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
So I would love to have like a good like either I'm going to do that, or I'm going to have the reading area be in a separate part of the house. But if they're combined, it's going to be like, if the room is kind of squarish, we're going to split it right down the middle diagonally. So one half of it will be like dedicated to the shelves and have a nice little reading space. I definitely want to have a little area to like make like some tea or some coffee or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Some like light refreshments kind of thing. A ton of snacks just like in little coves around. But as far as the gaming part specifically, 75-inch TV. Minimum.
Yep.
Like the one I have in my room right now is about a 65-inch. Loving it, but 75-inch. Ugh. I want to not care where I am in the room. We're seeing that bad boy.
Yeah.
I've thought about
curved. Curved.
See that's so wild how that was such a huge fad in like what, from 2014 to 2016.
Yeah, I mean it's still kind of around. I guess
a little bit, but like I mean, hey, it lasted longer than 3D TVs, and I knew those were gonna flop day one. Let's be honest.
Oh man,
who cares that much?
I still own my 3D TV.
Who cares that much about 3D for TVs, bro? No, I was like,
we had a 3D TV and we like never used the 3D aspect of it, and it low-key wasn't amazing either because like it was on some Wiimote type stuff where it was like
literally no. And I was like, didn't we already see this with the 3DS?
Yeah,
I used the 3D once, got a headache, and said, I think I'm good. I'm good.
I was like, I would always turn it on occasionally to be like, yep, it still does that. And I'm like, it still does that, and it still isn't really that appealing.
Literally, dude.
Well, you best believe when I was trying to get the 3DS, I was like, Mom, it plays 3D games.
How many games even realistically use that feature? That's crazy.
Even Nintendo was like, let's back it up, dog.
This is a small selling point. We have games to sell on.
I was about to say, it's like, it plays games, dog. That's the biggest
big thing, bro. Yeah. But it's just like, yeah, I really, really want to have a big TV for there. We got to have that mounted on the wall. I love the idea of having as few cables on the floor as possible because I really hate like having to be like, let me unplug this, let me not trip over this and stuff like that. It feels like it makes the room a lot more open to me, and like I feel like it's a lot cleaner because I really
the cable management has to go a little crazy because
I'm telling you, dog.
Sometimes I look at the back of my entertainment system and I'm like,
listen, I'm telling you, between the zip ties,
that's a jungle.
My big plan is like I would love to like also like create like a console where like I can have like you know how like a lot of modern TVs these days will have a specific thing you'll plug into the back of the TV that'll bring all your HDMI ports down. You know what I'm saying? I want to have something like that, but have it like built into kind of like the media like console thing itself, so that I can like literally like plug my consoles into there without having to be like, let me go to the back of the TV, let me figure it out. And I want it all to be like on a switcher, so that way whichever one I turn on, it'll automatically switch to that HDMI port. You know what I'm saying?
I was thinking about funneling mine through a wall.
Yeah,
because that's one thing I do for. It's only for one HDMI and it's like attached to the cable in my basement.
That needs
to
happen.
I would love to do that where it's like, oh, like, you know, I don't have to search for the thing and then like
exactly
and like weave it through all the other cords where it's just
literally, bro. That's what I'm saying.
So,
you know, because like the cable management for consoles and everything kind of gets wild the more you have, especially like since I have like my Switch on my desk right now and I have all my speakers and everything, my PCs there. I'm like, man, like I literally like a few weeks ago I put a power strip like on the bottom of my desk. Like I literally drilled into my desk and put a power strip all along the bottom because I'm like, I'm tired of like having to be careful where I put my feet under the desk.
Yeah, or else I'm going to turn off my thing. Yeah,
exactly, dude. I was like, no, I hate that. So that's going to be another big thing. Definitely a couch for there for sure. Maybe another armchair. I like really, really comfy chairs people can just kind of sink into. But I think the big thing for me is that not only do I want to frame some games, but I think I also want to frame a couple consoles next to them too. Like having the GBA framed and having like a couple of, like some of the games around it would be so dope to have on the wall. Like keeping all of like my handhelds on like the one side, like where they're all like kept charged, so I can like pick up any of them whenever I feel like it would be dope too. And like as far as like how I want to do games, I really want to have like a couple shelves on like the like on either side of like the TV, either side. Or like on one corner where it's like, this is where everything is. You know what I'm saying? I'm still not entirely sure how I want to do like the sorting of it all. Definitely going to be by console, but I'm not sure if I want to do like, okay, like maybe I don't want to have like a selection of, these are my 5 favorites from each of these first, and then I'll have the rest of them there. You know what I'm saying? I want to do something like that. But yeah, it's just like, I would really, really love, and especially the big thing for me too is colors. I really want the room itself to be colorful. Like the walls, I really like whenever I have like a space I can customize that much. If I'm ever a homeowner at some point in my life, like that's gonna take a lot of thought figuring out how all that's gonna work. But I'm really, really looking forward to that. I think
as I say, I think it's gonna be dope. It's gonna be dope. Yeah. So we talked a little bit about collecting. You know, we talked a little bit about how you got into it. How would you push someone into getting into collecting? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like what tips would you give them to start? Because I mean, you know, there is something to be argued where it's like, oh, just go out there and spend money. But like, you know, like how, like if you could give anybody anything, what would it be? Like,
start with stuff you like. Because if you like it, the hunt to find it is going to be so much fun.
Yeah. Don't go, oh, well, the Pokemon games are rare, so I got to get rares. Yeah.
Are you going to play them? Are you going to play them? Because if you're not going to play them or even just enjoy having them, then don't go get them. Don't look at it like an investment. Look at it like a long-term project that you're like putting into and investing into little by little. And you're going to have so much fun with it, bro. Like literally, like I remember during the pandemic having to hunt down volumes of Chainsaw Man. That was so fun. Being like, okay, listen, okay, so like the prime strategy when it comes from manga, especially one of my prime strategies, there's a few, but people don't know about this one and I'm hesitant to say it, but I think I trust the viewers here. If you're trying to find a manga and it's not anywhere around you because you want to get it physically, Barnes & Nobles, any Barnes & Nobles in the country will ship it to you if they have your address. So what you can do is, if you can find it on their website and it's not close to you, literally just use the find in store and do different like different zip codes. Like I would like find like I would go towards like New York. I would do like around like the Chicago area. I would do like around like the Texas and like around West Coast as well. Just to kind of see, like, because it'll give you like what, up to a 100-mile radius, something like that. If you can find one that has it in store, call that store. And then if one of the employees like doesn't know how they would get it to you, you can always ask. You'll feel like a carrot a little bit, but if you talk to one of their managers, it's one of the things they're trained on to be like, oh yeah, just give me your address. You can pay over the phone, and they'll send it to you. So learning that whole process was so gratifying because I was like, all right, I see people selling Blame Volume 1 for like $80. I'm going to buy it for MSRP of $30. Let's go, baby. Yep. So it's just like finding those little tips and tricks. It's like, it's so fun and it makes it so personal. And like, that's at the end of the day, the thing about collecting, right? It's self-expression. And that's really the way you want to approach it. Don't think of it as, this is going to be the down payment of my house one day. It's realistically not.
No.
Like realistically, that's never going to happen.
Yeah. it can all come crumbling down
exactly.
eventually. You know,
I mean, like all it takes.
You might
is
as well
like,
look at this thing and be like, I look at this thing as like a piece of art or like a piece of like enjoyment or
something
media
that
enjoy.
Sparks
Like not
joy
just
for
like
you,
this is my
man.
ticket to
That's what I'm saying. Listen, it's just like you gotta look at it like something you enjoy doing. Grab something that you like. Again, it's just like if you're interested in like handhelds, pick up a PSP and see if there's any games that you think you would like, and like pick up stuff like off of pure vibes. Like for me, like I remember the other day I was looking down.
I picked this off Pure Vibes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like
I remember like the other day I was looking on Mercari and I saw like this DS game Radiant Historia. I was like, you know what? This seems cool. I think it was like I forget who was published. It might have been. I think it was published by Atlas. I forget. I didn't notice that at the time. But I was like, you know what? RPG seems fun. Let's just get it, dude. It was like what, like $40, and it came in box and everything. And it's just like, and so I started looking into it. I'm like, oh, people say this is actually really, really good. Sure, I didn't know it was gonna be great either way. But it's just like the little discoveries are what makes the whole process super duper fun and rewarding. So yeah, if I had to give any advice, go with stuff you like. It'll never lead you wrong.
Yeah, like there's always there's always gonna be that like, oh, like this is the hot game everyone's talking about. This is the hot game everyone's selecting. It's like, but like I mean, there will. I feel like nothing brings you more joy than like the game you can always look at and be like, yeah, like that's awesome. Or like I'm glad I own this and I can play whenever I want.
Especially
you know what I'm saying?
if there's a story behind it too. How you
because,
got it.
Like there have been so many moments where after. Because my dad sold my PS2, which I think is a story I've already told on the pod. But like, after that, like, I would literally be like, man, I just wish I could relive my childhood and play Sly one more time. And
now
eventually, like now I can. So and now I can look at it on my shelf every day and like look at the back like I used to, when I was like 9 or 8 and be like, yeah, this is
those days.
This is it, man. Like so.
You're really just like giving yourself the room to live something that you enjoy. I love that, man.
Yeah, it's awesome for sure. All right, so moving on.
Yes, sir.
We speaking of hot games, we've been, or I guess I should more so say you've been playing Helldivers 2.
Yes, sir. Great game.
Yeah,
definitely.
I have not touched Helldivers 2 yet, but I've downloaded it. It's all ready to go.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully I'll hop on.
Will be dropping soon?
As I say, hopefully I'll hop on later tonight.
Hey, let's go.
But how would you explain Helldivers 2 to an outsider, to someone who's never played it before? Because I feel like, I've heard a lot of things about it being popular. Obviously, everyone on my Steam friends list has it now and all that stuff. But like, I don't think I've ever heard about what the gameplay is like, what like people like about the game. Like what, like how would you describe Helldivers 2?
So I've been talking with Christian about this, right? And I think for me the biggest selling point wasn't even just that the gameplay is fun, because it really is. But like, and I'm saying this to you because since like me, Helldivers 2 is probably the most fun I've had in a multiplayer game since Overwatch.
Wow, that's actually kind of wild.
Yeah. Like since the glory days of Overwatch 2016 to 2017, where I was logging in every day after class to just jump on with my friends who were like from so many different states, and we would just play till like 2 a.m. and like it was just great. Where it's just like the game is really, really good at building. It's really, really good at making moments. I was even talking about this with Brendan and Luke yesterday. You know how the Switch has the thing where when you hold the camera, you record the last 30 seconds? I need that for Helldivers because I don't know. I know that they have a developer who's specifically.
When's Helldivers 2 coming to the Switch?
Literally, we can get it there once y'all get those servers figured out, please. But it's like
Switch gonna be sounding like.
You get a little toasty.
What's that smell?
It'll be like when you're playing in the winter. Man, my hands are cold. Let's boot up Helldivers. That was me with Monster Hunter Loki. I love my Switch, bro. But when I can be like, oh yeah, that's great. It's just the little mini furnace right in my hands. No, but like just like I know that they have a developer who specifically will like jump into missions sometimes to either like tweak things here and there, and you won't know when or where or how.
Who was Helldivers 2 developed by?
It was like a smaller company that made Helldivers 1, obviously. I don't know the name of the company, though, but they're actually really active on Twitter as far as letting people know what's going on and being communicated with the community. They're really, really great. But like...
Should have devs like that.
We need more stuff like that.
Like Larian.
Real, you know,
Larian
like
Studios
less devs giving us just buzzwords.
Yeah.
Shout out Todd Howard.
Buzzwords and like apologies on a black background
That's
with
what
the
I'm
white
saying,
font.
bro.
Where it's like, we have disappointed our community. Yeah, buddy, the game isn't out yet.
Can we get more devs like Aggro Crab, who just basically said, you know what? We're just going to be goofy on Twitter, and someone said we should make Crab Souls, and we're making a Crab Souls-like game. Check out Aggro Crab. They made this game called Going Under. It's like a roguelike about being an office worker, and it's really, really fun, and it's really, really funny. But, like, I love the way Helldivers 2 creates moments. Like, you'll drop in, and you'll be like, all right, our objective is let's just set off this missile, and then we need to leave, right? So, like, you and your buddies will, like, call in some of your support weapons, and then you'll be on your way. And as you're going there, oh no, you're ambushed by like a bunch of like robots or like a bunch of bugs or whatever. You're like, okay, we gotta take these guys out. And so you're taking them out, and then maybe another wave will come in. And you're like, okay, shoot, we have to start fighting these guys. You're like, okay, but we need to keep moving towards the objective. So let's like see if we can like get away from them, fight them, and move at the same time. You'll be moving. You'll be like, oh wait, shoot, there's like an optional objective right over there. Let's just knock that out right now so we can get more points at the end. You'll go over there, and then suddenly it's just like bot drop detected or like insect swarm incoming or something like that. So oh shoot, now we're doing this other side project while a bunch of things are happening, and like all of that will just be like it like there's a really nice rhythm as far as the game forcing you into an engagement when you're fighting the enemy, and it lasts just long enough that you don't get tired of it or feel like it's repetitive, or you're like, okay, this is just too much game, you need to stop. It'll like you'll finish the wave, you'll have enough room to breathe, restock, get the stuff that you need, and start moving towards your next objective before it starts happening again. And especially at the end of the missions, it's really, really good at being like, all right, there's a wave of a bunch of them. You guys need to stay here for 2 minutes before you can leave. How are you going to survive? And like the choices you have to make, and the plans that you and your friends will concoct on the fly, it's so good. I think the thing that really sold me on it was realizing, especially like even before I picked up the game, is that the way people described it sounded like scenarios that I would like think up in my head as a kid. I remember I was listening to Rurikon talk about the game. Shout out Rurikon for real. Shields up Iron Breakers, but like he was talking about how he was playing with a friend of his, and how like he had like they were in this like they were like surrounded by a bunch of bugs. They were taking him out as much as he could, but there was like 2 of them chasing one of his friends. So he literally yells, "Get down!" And like because you can go prone in the game, so he like his friend dives forward and he just unleashes the machine gun like right above his head to get all the bugs. I'm like, dude, those are the moments, man. Those are the moments. So like if I had to say any reason to get into Helldivers 2, the moments that game makes are just chef's kiss, bro. So like hopefully that sells you. I think you're really gonna enjoy
I was about to say I'm excited to
it.
jump into it. I think that's good. Awesome. Well, we're approaching the end of the show.
Whew, yeah.
We've got a couple things to end off with. But we've got some new introducing. Hasn't been in the past couple episodes. But we're actually going to start with it.
Okay, let's get it, baby.
As you already know, and as many of our viewers know, of course, the episode is titled The Pause Menu, right?
Yes, sir.
And because of that, we now have the idea of reviewing pause menus.
Yes, sir.
And, giving them our pause menu of the day label, right? So the pause menu that we have for today, it's Persona 5,
yes.
Right? PS3 version. But it's Persona 5. Primarily because I would have chose Persona 3, Reload, but that could always be for a future episode.
Exactly.
But we've got Persona 5 here. We've got a couple things to look through.
I'm telling you, bro, the animations, the slickness.
I think just the transitions is like the biggest thing.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's wild how saying. That was like the perfect persona to like bring that into.
I love the portraits, like right there when he's looking at like himself as a character. I love the portraits of the different characters. I love I love the sounds too. Sounds are a big thing for me with like pause menus.
Pew, pew, pew.
Yes, dude.
Especially when it's like stuff from like the actual game where it's like you're like the ching ching like.
I'm telling you. Ugh. And like the colors too, like the whole theme of everything here, just works so well.
Everything is just. I feel like, I don't know if I'm the best person where it's like, oh, like this is so meticulously chosen and blah blah blah, but like, it's stuff like going from the config and like breaking into that where it's like, oh, like this is the behind the scenes stuff.
Exactly,
so it's like we're going behind the glass where it's like it's and just like honestly stuff like the confidence stuff where obviously Joker's back and like if you like if you select that then like it's really good. It's really good.
I love it. I love just the fact that like it ties into the themes of just everything else in the game. The HUD, the themes of like what the game is trying to explore, and even just the fact that like I love how the pause menu is just him holding up saying like hold it. I just
where it's like.
It's like, and the fact that it splits it down the middle. We have like the overlay of the rest of the game on the one side, and then you have the super stylized, like comic-esque like stuff on the one side, dude. It's like
it's like you're in the middle of all this stuff where it's like
you're literally it's like when you're reading a comic and you look up for a second, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I love that, bro. It's just like the fact that like whenever like the art actually changes for different things, it's like it's so fun looking at something like Persona as compared to like a way more bare bones pause screen like in a game like I don't know like I'm thinking of like any like more generic RPG. I'm thinking of something like I don't know I got Trials of Mana, and like that's like it's very much like just kind of stock standard. Oh yeah, you got your buttons, you got your stuff that you press, or even like
it's like one of those where it's like the game just gets dim and then it's like paused and then like you can just like beep, beep, beep,
or like a lot of like the Square Enix like remasters they've been doing where it's just like, oh, this is just an older game, so we're just gonna make it really bare bones, but it's just like this. It's like it's trying to evoke a feeling, and I love that here.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
it's great. I think that is a beautiful pause menu of the week. Pause menu of the week for us. But yeah, next up. We've got what you've been playing recently. So, Sam, I got to ask what you've been playing recently.
I've been trying to finish up Pacific Drive because I'm going to start playing Dragon's Dogma in literally next week, actually.
Okay, rock on. Not tomorrow, because tomorrow's March 1st. So
tomorrow is March 1st.
As of this recording, obviously.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to start tomorrow just because, like, we got a lot of stuff going on.
I was going to say, we do.
I got a lot of stuff I'm trying to wrap
I'm leaving
up.
right after work, yeah.
Literally, bro. Yeah. Like, we got a lot. I got a lot of stuff I'm trying to figure out, like, after we finish here, even. So like we'll see, but definitely by next week, definitely by next Monday, I'm gonna start playing Dragon's Dogma for sure. So next week I'm planning on to finish out Pacific Drive. I picked up what was it? I'm picking up a lot of demos on Steam recently. I picked up this game that just popped across my Steam feed called Stonks, and it's a simulator of being like a 1980s Japanese businessman. And you're literally trying to like, it's just like the stock market, and it's really, really fun. That might even need to be a pause menu that we talk about later on, because like the whole vibe of the game is very CRT. It's very like old timey computer, and it's like what I love is like the game. It's like real time where it's like the days are going by, but the days go by really, really fast. Like one day is like 10 seconds, you know what I'm saying? But you're seeing like the stock prices rise and fall. There'll be like events that'll happen, like, oh yeah, because of this event, consumer expectations of this company have gone downhill. And then you see the prices dip, and it's just like, I just bought 50 shares of that literally last turn. Thank you. But like you'll have stuff like that. You'll have other characters that you need to interact with who can help you get connections to get into other companies and then make more money. And it's just it's got so much like charm to it. I love it, dude. It's got that 80s 90s anime aesthetic all across it too. It's just Stonks is so fun. I need to pick up some of the games that are on sale right now. I know that Amid Evil and Faith are the ones that I was talking with Simon and Andrew about. I want to pick those up for sure.
I picked up Faith, but I haven't played it yet.
I know, right? It's just like spooky indie game. I think I'm gonna like it. We'll get it, one of these days.
So yeah, eventually, yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? With all the other millions of games in my Steam library, literally.
Replace get with play and be like, oh yeah, I'll play that eventually.
Okay, I just picked up, what's it called? Balatro. I'm gonna butcher the name because I don't remember off the top of my head, but like I love Slay the Spire, and so Steam was like, so what if you had another rogue deck builder, but it was poker, That's literally what Balatro is. It's like poker roguelite deck builder. People say it's incredibly addictive, and I'm like, that's what I need, baby. I need a game I can be like, wait, I can turn on the optimizer part, and we're doing stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't even booted it up yet because I've been busy. I'm just like, I know that if I get hooked, man, that's gonna be my time buster.
I was gonna say, anytime I have free time.
Literally, when you're like, all right, I've already contributed in this work meeting and I have nothing else to say, and we're gonna go on for at least another 15 minutes. Let's boot it up real quick. So I'm looking forward to that for sure. And then I think like as far as the stuff I've been playing like more consistently, yeah, really just like a lot of Slay the Spire, a lot of Pacific Drive. That's what I've been working on. Moving towards playing more. I'm in, like all of my like when I'm not playing Pacific Drive, just like small indie stuff. You know what I'm saying? Just like fill in the gaps. But I'm really looking forward to what's coming out, dude. Did you know that freaking not only does Dragon's Dogma come out on I think either the 22nd or the 26th, but the same day the new Princess Peach game comes out.
Oh, word?
So I'm just like, I knew I was gonna get that day one because I just love the fact that it exists right now.
Yeah,
so I'm like,
yeah.
Here we go. 2 games that I'm going to enjoy coming out the same day in March, man. And also I think like what I think Stellar Blade comes out this month too. So I'm trying to think of that. I think so. So it's like, dude, March is already looking to be like a really good month for games for me. So like I cannot wait until the rest of the year, man. It's wild.
I hear you. Nice, not bad, not
boss?
bad. Yeah, so you already know I got my Vita.
Yes, sir.
So I officially broke it in because
Vita gang for life, baby. Let's go.
Vita gang. But I finally broke it in because I replayed through Sly 1.
Yes, sir.
It was a European version, which is called Sly Raccoon.
That's
yeah, which because
Sly Raccoon
because so there used to be this like. And it's spread across the fandom.
Yeah.
And it's misinformation, though, because people are like, oh, apparently Cooper's a swear word in the UK, so they can't put it on there. And like this dude said it in his video as a joke, but then so many people took him seriously. And then so many people were like, no, that is not it. They literally just did it just so they can differentiate between the two versions. And I was like, oh, okay. But
the British localization.
It was so weird because like I think the Sly collection looks better on the Vita than it does on the PS3.
That's wild.
Which was weird to me. I just was more impressed because I was like, oh, this looks way sharper. Especially as I'm playing through Sly 2 now, also since I just beat Sly 1. But which I also talk about too, where it's like even though those are both PS2 games, I'm more impressed with the fact I'm playing Sly 2 on a handheld because like. Sly 2 is a way more fleshed out game. Like it has like missions and stuff.
A lot more going on.
Yeah, it created the formula that the Sly franchise actually follows now, where Sly 1 is basically just like get to the end of the level, again, fight the boss, and then do that like 7 times. So, but I played that, I beat it, and yeah, it was still really good.
That's
still
dope.
one of my favorite games of all time. So, but yeah, I started playing Tomb Raider 1.
Oh yeah, following in our boy Nathaniel's footsteps. I was
gonna say following in his footsteps. I got the Tomb Raider collection.
OG.
Because the Tomb Raider series has, at least aesthetically and design wise, has always really interested me. Because I was just like, oh, like I mean, like I played the Tomb Raider remake back in the day,
like the 2013 one.
2013 one.
I played like
the Xbox
30
one.
minutes of it, Loki, back in the day, and I never went back.
I played
to
like
it.
a good 5-6 hours, but like I never beat it.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, like I kind of enjoyed it. It's like let me go back.
I feel like those games just don't work for me for some reason. I think I had to like figure that out.
I feel like Tomb Raider definitely, the newer Tomb Raiders play like Uncharted, which is probably why I liked it because I love Uncharted. But
and that's interesting because I don't know if I would like Uncharted. There's certain genres of games that just don't really click.
I think that you would stomach Uncharted enough to get to the point where a lot of the cutscenes happen, because the opening of Uncharted 2, I should just show you the opening of Uncharted 2 one of these days, because during the entire opening of Uncharted 2, I stood there with my jaw dropped, like, what is going on?
Okay.
I was like, train going off the side of a mountain, hanging off the side of a mountain, where it's like train falls to the it's insane.
Okay,
so,
I got you.
But yeah, so I was like, let me go back. And Tomb Raider 1 is like, it's definitely more, there's like a hidden beauty to it, but I don't know if I appreciate it yet. like I'm only like an hour in, right?
Kind of in like I'm glad this existed during the time period that it did, but I'm not sure this is hitting me right now.
Yeah, first off, there's tank controls. And I'm
like Resident Evil.
Okay, yeah, I literally was like, okay, like I feel like that makes more sense for Resident Evil. I'm sorry, because like the entire time I was expecting to like go through this like cavern with Lara Croft and stuff.
It's about like freeform exploration. With RE, it's more about like I'm a survival horror. Everything is limited, including my controls. You know what I'm saying? Huh? That's weird.
Like, so I was just sitting there.
It did
like,
come on the PS1 though, right?
Yeah,
where you didn't have like a joystick. You didn't have a joystick on the PS1.
No,
you
didn't.
Yeah.
You just had the D-pad.
Okay.
Or like
that kind of makes sense, honestly,
D-pad.
for the time.
Yeah, like it made sense for the time. And the remake has modern controls, which is a little better.
That's dope.
But like I still find them to be really clunky, honestly. I don't know.
Because the game wasn't designed for that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's taking some time.
I
will say
a little bit.
The one thing I like about the Tomb Raider remaster is the fact that you can switch between the old graphics and the new graphics.
Oh, really?
Yes. So that's really cool.
Dope, actually.
So I'm playing it with the old graphics because I'm like, these have been the graphics
Yeah.
that like obviously I think are really cool.
This is what started the franchise, after all.
Yeah. And like the new graphics kind of look a little plasticky. So I'm like, I'm good. But those have kind of been really the two biggest things, honestly, this week. So who knows? Maybe next week I'll play a little something new. So I am playing through Sly 2, which I could talk about Sly 2 all day.
You've been playing through Sly 2.
As I said, like I could talk.
Oscar at least once a year. I'm playing through Sly 2.
I'm playing through Sly 2. Like I'm gearing up because I want to eventually stream Sly 3, not for viewers, but for the boys.
For the boys, let's go.
And I was like, let me just. This would be a good excuse to use my Vita and also do that. But yeah, I'm always just blown away at how like just they stepped their game up from Sly 1 to Sly 2, where the character models, they redesigned everything. The way the like hub world, like the way the level design works now, the missions and just like, even just the character writing and the story is just like
an actual game.
It's like, yeah. Well, Sly 1 was an actual game, like, but it's like, it very much was like, because it was Sucker Punch's second game.
It felt like more of a proof of concept. Like we can do this.
Yeah.
Versus like, now that we know what we can do, here's what we're doing.
Yeah, I feel like it's different when you have a first game versus like, because everyone always says like, like there are very few franchises where the first game in there is like the best one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
especially for
obviously in Pokemon
developer.
Red and Blue, it's like catch Pokemon, battle gym leaders. But then like in Gold and Silver, they were like, oh, you see this whole other region you went to? You can go to another one. And then we also tied in the story from the last game into this game. And blah, blah, blah. Like there's always, the sequel always, or not always, but like oftentimes it's trying to outdo the last one. And so like, especially for Sucker Punch as a studio too, like, they made Rocket Robot on Wheels for the N64. And that was their only basis. So as opposed to their peers, Insomniac and Naughty Dog, who Insomniac had success with Spyro, and then they were doing Ratchet and Clank. They were doing their thing with Ratchet and Clank on the PS2. And then Naughty Dog had Crash Bandicoot. And then they did their thing with Jack and Daxter on the PS2. Sucker Punch was very much trying to like be like, hey, we deserve to be Sony devs too. Like we can throw our hat into the PlayStation mascot ring. And so, Sly was born as a thing. And then obviously Sucker Punch has had great success because with the PS3, they're like, what if we did Infamous?
Exactly.
Then with the PS4, they're like, what if we
Underrated
did Ghost of
games?
Yeah. Then with the PS4, they're like, what if we did Ghost of Tsushima?
Yeah.
And, they're killing it with Ghost of Tsushima, obviously. And now they're like, hey.
Do next,
yeah. Ghost of Tsushima 2. That's their next game.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
Like, I've only been barely playing through the first one, so I haven't like watched anything else.
Well, they revealed it through their announcement of being like, we get you guys want Sly and Infamous, but we're not doing those anymore. And hate to burst your bubble, but no one in the industry is doing those.
Literally.
So we're working on Ghost of Tsushima 2. And it's like, I mean,
all power to
them.
Didn't they just get hit with a layoff recently too?
I heard Santa Monica and Insomniac and Naughty Dogs were the big studios. I don't know if Sucker Punch was one of them. I wouldn't be surprised if they were, but it's yeah. Like I realize, of course, it would be dumb and stupid and also just disrespectful because I respect sucker punch a lot as a dev to be like, oh, I'm hating on Ghost of Tsushima because blah blah. I realize game development doesn't work like that.
No slide.
There's no slide because of Ghost of Tsushima. Like, no, like that's dumb. Like,
not how that works.
Yeah, that's not how that works.
Not your favorite artist is not going to make the same album 5 times just because you liked
as I
it.
say, yeah, like it's one of those things where obviously games are art, and like the only reason I even just want another Slide game is because of
you love
how
the art. You love it.
I love the franchise, and the last Slide game didn't end off well, so it's like if we just ended off on Slide 3, I would be like, okay, like this is from my childhood. It's dormant now, like, but the good times are over now. There's other games to play, like you know what I'm saying. But
versus where it's just like, and now I need another one, and you're not going to give me another one, so now I'm frustrated.
As I say, like if Slide never becomes a franchise, like I'm fine with that. Like, if it doesn't become a multimedia, blah blah blah, like I'm fine with that.
It's like you're in a Hunter x Hunter situation, like a Berserk situation almost, where it's just like, I don't know if we're gonna see the end of this story before like the author, isn't alive anymore. So like, what's going to happen here?
Yeah,
man.
But yeah, but enough of that. That's basically what I've been playing recently.
Good stuff.
Praising
and raising?
Yep, we praising and we raising. So for all of our new viewers who don't know, praise and raise is basically, very much as it says, although it's not raise up, we say praise.
Raise to the ground.
As I say, raise to the ground. We'll give a praise to, either a figure or a concept in the gaming community, or we'll raise something, right? So,
exactly.
Yeah. So Sam, do you want to go first?
Ooh, praise and raise. I think let me see. Definitely, I'm gonna have to give my praise to. See, now I'm trying to pick because I wanna give it to Capcom just because I've been really happy with any purchase I've made from Capcom recently. But you know what? I'm actually just gonna I want to give it to whoever designed the PS Vita. Because someone really had to
I've been thinking about the exact because I looked at the back of my Vita and I was like, this is cool. Like, I was like, this is so awesome. Because I remember thinking, like, man, like, the type of tech where it's like, I don't think I can, like, fully abuse this thing because, like, it feels like it was made so well. But, like, obviously it still works. Like, it's not like it's one of those,
I'm telling you, it's like,
I need to be treated like
it's like a similar magic that Nintendo's had with most of their handhelds. You know what I'm saying? Where it's just like, even from the GameCube era, because I remember people would say, like, yo, you can low-key drop. I had a friend who literally dropped. He was moving and one of his friends accidentally dropped his GameCube for 3 stories onto concrete, and that bad boy still turned on and played games.
Wow, I wish one of my friends dropped my GameCube and it still turned on. Elliot. Yeah, but either way,
some of them had the Nintendo and some of them didn't. But dude, the Vita has a nice little console. It's perfectly pocketable. The screen does not strain my eyes at all.
I've actually been surprised at how often I put my Vita in my pocket.
Yes, dude.
I've been surprised because I'll be doing laundry and I'll be like, and I'll go
dude, I'm telling you, unless you're wearing a hoodie, where are you putting your Switch?
Oh yeah,
where are you putting your Switch? I'm getting the case out and I'm zipping it back up and putting
I don't
somewhere.
even want to think about putting my Switch in my pocket because the Joy-Con is just so fragile. Like I'm afraid that if my joystick is going to the left too much, I'll boot it up again and it'll just
Switch menu noise.
I literally hated booting up because I'm on my 3rd or 4th pair of Joy-Cons now. And, I literally hated booting up my Switch and then seeing.
Yo, it's just like,
okay.
The way the YouTube videos on how to fix that were going crazy in the first 4 years of the Switch's lifespan are insane, bro. Use the pressurized air, open it up, and clean off the little pads. Just get a replacement one. You can fix it yourself really easily.
Yeah, but
but I shouldn't have to do that though. I mean,
I also was I would love to have the Splatoon Joy-Con. So I guess I guess this is a excuse to get one.
Man, see, listen. So having the Vita be solidly built, don't have to worry about most of that for the real, and then you can still mod it really easily. Shout out to Vita and whoever put that together, man. Great work on that.
They did great work. I wish you were rewarded, man, with some good sales, but unfortunately,
we gotta get into that for real one of these days. But as far as my raise, honestly, I feel like, you know what? I do have my raise, but it's a mini praise, but it's also kind of a raise. I'm really happy Neil Druckmann's finally starting to slow down in the industry. Listen, he gave us good stuff with Last of Us. Don't get it twisted, but we need to move on. We need to move on. Thank you, Neil, for your contributions. We need to move on.
Thank you, Neil, for the one contribution. I'm sorry. I'm but I mean, I definitely agree with that. Like,
it's like I can appreciate. Listen. Neil and like trying to make games like into blockbusters is
You're
almost
not Kojima, bro.
It's almost as funny to
down.
me as the developer for Shenmue. Literally being proud of the fact that in the 20 plus years between Shenmue 2 and 3, he had not played any video games, did not care about playing video games, and said, my vision is all we need anyways.
Side eye. Oh, so embarrassing.
For those of you who don't know, yes, Shenmue 3 was the best, most beautiful, most amazing flop of a game.
Oh, okay. I was like, Shenmue 3 was good? I was like, that's the end of the story. He got rewarded for doing that?
No! So
that is like David Jaffe levels of like just thinking your art is way above it, where it's like compelling story with character development and growth throughout the entire arc. Where are the raunchy sex jokes?
Man, one day gamers will understand.
Why am I not mashing circles so Kratos can smash a prostitute?
Some people don't seem to understand that peaking in high school doesn't need to happen unless you allow it to. But that's me, brother. Yeah. How about you?
I want to give my praise to Scott the Waz.
One of the best Ohioans on YouTube.
One of the best Ohioans in the game right now.
Scott, don't retire, please. Scott, please don't retire. I don't watch a lot of your content, but I need to know that if I'm ever falling asleep to YouTube and I'm gonna be woken up in the middle of the night by some random thing, it's gonna be you talking about the Nintendo's year in 2018.
It's gonna be hey y'all, Scott here. But yeah, I love Scott's content. I think he is like, aside from Dunkey, he's like my favorite gaming YouTuber.
One of the best gamers on YouTube right now. I'm gonna get honest with you.
And especially because I didn't watch Scott's Stash until like the end of last year.
Yeah.
And like I went on a kick of watching those videos because like it's very much a more laid back, like, you know, like
how my life is as a collector.
As I say, and him just being like, oh yeah, like I recently watched a Scott Stash video he released 2 days ago on controllers.
Yeah.
And how he was just like, yeah, like this controller is pretty good, but like this one's also not bad. Like, you know, they're all right, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just like that chill vibe that I love, like out of like talking about games. Like he just brings, of course, his main channel is like hilarious and like obviously it's so well done and well thought out. Like, but like, I don't know, man. He's just an awesome content creator, an awesome dude. Like I just watched a podcast episode and like it felt like I talked about it a little bit, but it felt like you know, seeing a comedian that you watch a lot like drop their character, and he's just like
be there.
He's just super chill. He's just like, who knows? This might all crumble tomorrow, but you know, we're here.
I feel like he's like the perfect trajectory of what all my favorite gaming YouTubers in like the 2010s could have been. You know what I'm saying? Or instead of like, where it's just like he's like the culmination. He's like the perfect result of like what I would have wanted everyone to like become. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or he's just like, he's passionate. He hasn't lost his spark. His stuff is original and engaging and funny, and it's just it makes me happy. You know?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So the raise.
Yeah. My raise was going to be scalpers. So yeah, my raise is going to be scalpers. Well, I kind of had a double raise. Or like I had double raise. Because it was scalpers / digital games. So because obviously the Microsoft rumor recently came out, obviously, where I said they were going to lean towards making an all digital console. And I don't know why. I've just always we share the same opinion, obviously. Where it's like I want that option. Obviously, it's gotten to the point where I've started looking at collecting Blu-rays.
Yes, dude. I've been doing the same thing.
Yes.
I've been doing the same thing.
I think the one I want to start off with is the Avatar series.
Yes, dude.
I used to own the Avatar series on DVD.
Yeah,
but I have no idea where those DVDs went.
I love how that happens too. It's just like,
but yeah, where it's like
lost in the miasma of the stuff your family owns.
Like it's in a whirlwind of something. Literally, or my mom booted up Facebook Marketplace and made a transaction or something.
Exactly, you know.
But yeah, like I don't know. I'm not rocking with it, honestly.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just trying to own my
like,
stuff.
It's convenient. And I've heard some points brought up where it's like, it's convenient. I can boot it up and I don't have to. Yeah, but like at the same time though, I'm like, I kind of like inserting a disc into my console.
Dude.
I kind of like, especially because I have a nice setup where it's like, I have my bed, then my shelf is right next to my bed, where it's like I can like look at my shelf sometimes and be like,
they're all there. That's the stuff, dude.
And then be like, all right, I wanna play Pokemon Snap. Even though I haven't touched it in like 3 years.
But it's there, and the option is there, and it's not going to get taken away from you, Because, again, you heard that, like, anyone who bought, like, anime on Funimation, that whole library is gone. They're not getting refunded for those purchases.
Yeah, I think there's also a thing, too, where maybe this was when Sony was about to shut down their store, but, like, they were like, oh, yeah, we're not giving refunds if you buy a movie on on PS3 or something. So.
It's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Absolutely wild.
It's wild. Yeah, no, I can't go out like that, honestly. So,
Dang, I love how we're on the same page with the Blu-rays, though. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm picking up movies. I picked up Parasite. I picked up Akira.
Nice.
I picked up Akira.
Nice.
I just watched Perfect Blue the other day.
Akira Spirited Away, though.
Yeah. See, like, now I need to actually sit down and watch Spirited Away, actually, because I still haven't seen that. I've seen Howl's Moving Castle.
Akira, Princess Mononoke.
Haven't seen that one either. You're seeing a side of me that hasn't seen any Ghibli films whatsoever.
No, bro, we saw Ponyo.
Well,
Ponyo, yeah.
Ponyo was great. So if you ask me Akira or Your Name, I'm like, ooh, I don't know. I see because I'm trying to find the perfect time to sit down and watch Akira. You know what I'm saying? I want to be 100% in the mood.
Yes.
Because like I need to sit down.
Akira is insane.
Uninterrupted. To watch Akira. You know what I'm saying?
There's just some piece of media where it's like, I need this to take my undivided attention. Before, for me, that was like Pokemon games. Now it's not. But like on Scarlet Violet launch day, I was like, all right, guys, I've done all my homework. I'm going in here, blah, blah, blah. But like for some games, I'm like, all right, like this is it. Like, locking in.
That's what I'm saying.
Locked in my room. I got some food. I got my friends on Discord.
Oh, right. Dude,
we ready?
Okay, something
we
about
ready.
This is probably a whole other topic, but something about the pre-sitting down to do some you enjoy food run is different. It hits so different.
Yes,
when you're like, I'm getting this food in anticipation of enjoying this thing. Somehow that's so good, bro. Man,
yeah, it's there. It's there. Yeah, and scalpers, of course, because you always got to do scalpers.
You got to get those guys out of here.
They're not gonna be my double rays all the time, but
the backup rays.
Yeah, it's just like Panzer Dragoon. Now that I have a Saturn, I've thought about that game a lot since I got this thing.
$1,700,
and well, it's not even the price. I'm like, man, I would love to play that game on original hardware. But
I got the hardware.
I don't want to spend a third of the check on that.
Literally, bro, that's what I'm saying.
I'm good. Like, so that's the whole credit card bill, dog.
Literally,
I don't know. Like,
it is all of my weekly payments going to be going back to this Panzer.
Actually, for 6 interest-free payments, you can get Panzer Dragoon.
No, real quick before we sign off, do not ever do those. You can pay this off in 4 times with Sizzle. Yeah, don't do Klarna, don't do Sizzle, don't do any of those. Let me kind of buy something, but then pay. That will destroy your credit. Don't do that.
Yeah,
don't do that. Just get a credit card and put it on that. Pay that off. Pay off your balance before the end of the year, before the end of the month. Not your full balance if you don't have to. At least your statement balance. If you don't pull off the full balance, they'll give you a credit so that way they won't charge you any interest over the next 25 days so you can pay it off there. Financial advice.
It should be a financial podcast.
Okay.
Financial pod, low key.
Really? We could be there.
I mean, you gotta have multiple credit cards. Just saying. Max out your rewards. Max out your rewards.
Max your rewards, baby.
But yeah, so that's it, honestly.
Love it.
All right. So reach the end of the show. Sam, where can the audience find you?
Well, y'all can find me on Instagram at pickupthesword. Like I say all the time, if you see me there, it'll probably be me lurking, and the only photos there are probably me and my girlfriend. Shout out Abby for real. She's my sweetheart. But yeah, you can find me there every so often. I really don't use my Twitter at all to actually post. I will repost stuff though. I think it's either at Sam Unsheathed Blog or at Unsheathed Blog from back when I was like blogging a lot. Maybe I'll get back to that this year.
I think it's like at Sam Unsheathed.
I think it's at Sam Unsheathed. There we go. That makes sense. But yeah, there I am on Twitter. You'll find me on Instagram, all that good stuff. Send me something funny or send me something cool, and I will probably respond.
Nice.
What about you, boss? Where can we find you?
All right, you can find me at 0003. That's my Instagram. So just daily posts about life, all that jazz. I don't have Twitter technically because I'm still locked out of my Twitter.
Let's get it.
But being locked out of my Twitter is low-key one of the best things that happened to me, honestly. So, like, I'm way less in the know about stuff. And honestly, like with Pokemon Z, like, I have no idea, like, if there's discourse behind it or, like, how excited people are. I assume people are excited, obviously. But that's a topic for later.
Exactly.
But
you're going to talk about it. We
will talk about it. But, like, it's kind of made stuff just better because, like, I don't really hear about stuff anymore, honestly, and it's fine. I mean, sometimes I hear about stuff through TikTok and stuff, but it's whatever. So, but yeah, I got an Insta, but I want to plug my YouTube channel, Ganache. So GONASH. Post some videos on there. I have a really long 1.5 hour video about Fire Emblem 3 Houses.
Let's get it, baby.
Want to check that out? You can. And yeah, so that's it.
Let's go.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into the podcast.
Yes, sir.
I've been your host, and we've had a blast with you guys. Catch y'all on the flip side.
Have fun. Put your car in park. Love y'all.
Play some games. Play some games.